treated everyone with respect, and I took the time to listen.
Okay.
And that's been part of my commitment.
Okay, so you've also met with Kash Patel. He's been tapped to lead the FBI. There are reports that after your conversation, you said he assured you he would not go after a so-called...
Yeah, so what's happened is that there's a guy with brain damage who seems to be one of the most reasonable people. It really, I don't know how this happened.
Enemies list. Have you made a decision on him?
Crazy. Wow.
Well, and again, that's part of the own process too. I believe I'm the only Democrat, or maybe one of the only few, that have actually met with all of them. And again, I've approached all of them with, again, that open mind to have a conversation. And I don't trust, and certainly not, many of the things that were written or said about me weren't true. So I assume the same might be them as well too. So I've maintained
which is logical. People write bullshit about everybody, of course.
Dialogue to really
you shouldn't just
understand, and
believe
I've
it.
watched these hearings, and that's part of, if our job is to consent, and that is part of the process. And there are some out of all of them, I have voted for them, and there's some that I won't vote for them. But it's going to be about an open process that I've maintained throughout the entire time.
And I know that includes meeting with Tulsi Gabbard as well. I mean, she's got concerns from both sides of the aisle. Can you tell us more about your conversations with her and if you've landed on a decision regarding her?
No, it's, again, I just really pretty much the exact same as the two that you just brought up.
Okay, now you have, as you noted, voted for some of President Trump's nominees in this process, and you were one of the only Democrats to vote for the Laken-Riley Act. We saw you as part of the signing ceremony for that with her family, with President Trump this week. Now, there's been some blowback from the left about voting for that act, about the ICE
This is about deporting criminals. Yeah. Yep. He got a lot of criticism for deporting criminals. Yep. People were not happy at all.
That are going on now across the country. I want to get your reaction to some local officials who say either they're not going to cooperate, they're going to actively block these, or in some cases, they're just going to give people advice on how to avoid the raids. Here are some local officials reacting in the last few days.
Our police officers will not be cooperating with federal law enforcement around federal immigration law.
Being a welcoming city just simply states that our local police department will not behave as federal agents.
We have a sanctuary ordinance, a state law, SB 54, that generally prohibits our police department from participating in immigration enforcement.
So what obligations do or don't you think?
I'm sure this is going to go over really well. This is so stupid. No federal funding for those cities. I don't know if they should do that yet or not. I don't. I think that what they should do is, this is what I would do. I would wait for one of these people to, eventually there will be one of the people that is an illegal immigrant there that is, commits a crime and kills somebody, right? This will happen. And when it does happen, charge them as an accessory to the murder. Done.
Local officials have with respect
That's
to
what I do.
the feds and these deportations.
I hope every local official would agree.
They allowed
that
it.
Anyone here, any of the migrants that are here.
Because the big problem is that, and this goes back to what I said before, is that the big problem is that a lot of these people that are in powerful positions never face any level of genuine accountability for their actions. And this is something that, like, for example, we're always talking about, like, oh, well, all these, like, illegal immigrants. Well, why the fuck are the illegal immigrants here? It's because they're getting hired. They're getting paid. And so it's like, really, the people, you know who should be paying for the deportation flights? Are the companies that created the ecosystem and the economy for them to be here in the first place. They're the ones who should be fucking paying for it because they caused the problem to happen.
With criminal
business
backgrounds
owners, yes.
or engaging in criminal behavior. I think they should support that. Now, if ICE comes to round them up, I hope they would provide that kind of support. I certainly would never
Yeah.
support terrorizing otherwise innocent migrants in those kinds of situations, or kicking in a door at a school. But I think we can all agree that every migrant here with a criminal background or engaging in criminal behavior should all needs to go.
Okay, so you also
Yeah.
were the only Democrat vote in
What?
trying to move together a measure pushing back against the ICC. Specifically, it seems for their decision to go after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, among others. This illegitimate court counteraction act was supposed to impose sanctions with respect to the ICC, engaged in any effort to investigate, arrest, detain, or prosecute any protected person of the United States and its allies. Why do you think you were the only Democrat to vote on moving that forward procedurally?
Well, I said that on social media, that I was incredibly disappointed. I absolutely disagree with that. I can't really understand why my party hasn't joined me in voting to sanction the ICC. When you've equivocated the Democratic leader of our special ally with the rapists and cowards of Hamas, especially after what you've seen, after terrorizing that poor hostage, you had hundreds and hundreds of people, the chaos, it's like, and they've equivocated that with the prime minister. It's vile. I mean, my colleague that's going to be next up on your show, we've had a long going conversation in order to sanction the ICC. And I was absolutely supportive of that, and I can't defend why my party chose not to.
So the prime minister is he's on his way to Washington to have meetings here, including at the White House with President Trump. Do you think that there will be a different relationship between the U.S. and Israel with the Trump administration versus a Biden administration?
Well, there's going to be some situations where I absolutely support
I can't see how it's in America's best interest to keep trying to continue relations with Israel. I just don't. Like, I could see an argument for like a geopolitical reason, but I don't really see how it's in our best interest to keep protecting and like funding and giving money to Israel. Like, explain to me like why it's good for me that my tax money is going towards this country that's like completely on the other side of the world. Like, I don't really hate Israel. I don't hate Palestine. I just think that our tax money and our government should be working on our stuff and not theirs. Like, it should not even be a factor.
Have a good one.
Like, it's so weird that this is even happening. It's literally geopolitical. I mean, but like, we're like, is that advantage, like, has that advantage really benefited us? I feel like it. I don't know. I mean, especially, I'm sure it, and by the way, I'm sure it has to an extent. But like, for how much money that we do, how much money that we're putting into this, Israel would get wrecked without support. So now we have to give them money. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. Like, I want the Congress of the United States to work in the best interest of the United States. And if they can think in an abstract term that Israel is in the best interest, that's fine. And maybe I could hear an argument for it. But I really, like, it. This is not my problem. It's not our war. This is not my problem. It's not our war.
The decisions with Israel
Massive
that
amount of
Joe
money.
Biden made. And I'm going to agree with some of the decisions with President Trump, or I'm going to disagree with them as well. But that's why my vote and my voice is going to follow Israel through all of this situation. I'm going to disagree with either of the presidents, but I'm going to stand with Israel, just like that vote against the ICC. And I absolutely was supporting blocking the ban on the 2,000-pound bombs as well. I fully support bringing those back.
All right, Senator, we will watch for your votes on all those critical nominees, but you can always let me know if you decide to before you press that button. It's always great to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's crazy how, I don't know how, but a guy who's had brain damage and recovering from a stroke seems to be the only person that has any degree of common sense here. I mean, like the Israel thing, I think is like kind of, you know, I'm kind of torn on it. I'm not a huge supporter of that, but especially with like the border stuff, it's not even a question. I'm surprised that anybody's even discussing it at all. So yeah, it's insane to me.
Yesterday, we have informed the federal workforce, which they've looked to do for many years, that if they're working for the federal government, they must show up to the office on time and on schedule.
Oh.
We don't want them.
Oh, we gotta make them go to work.
We don't want them to work from home because, as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States who are in fact working hard from job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government, they're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have nevertheless been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with the United States of America.
Those TikToks.
Because if they did, that would be unlawful, as you understand.
Oh,
a lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs, so they'll have to prove that to us that they weren't. In any event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that's what we've been looking to do for many, many decades.
Problem solved. Yep. They don't show up, there it is, they're gone.
Thank you. In addition, there was a short-term pause or funding freeze on certain discretionary spending payments, such as government grants, only for us to quickly look at the scams, dishonesty, waste, and abuse that's taken place in our government for too long. As was explicitly stated, this in no way affected Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or other entitlements that Americans depend on. I've made abundantly clear from the very first day that I ran from office. That was a long time ago now. That's 2015. If you think about it, I announced in 2015, and we won in 2016. We did very well in 2020, but we did really well just recently. And I'm restating right now to correct any confusion that the media has purposely and somehow, for whatever reason, created Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected by any action we're taking in any way, shape, or form.
I had one of my boys message me yesterday. He said they were lying about that. He used his, I'll just tell you, he used his baby mama's SNAP card.
In that process,
it worked just fine.
We identified and stopped $50 million being sent
That's what he texted me. He told me
to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that? We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts. This is just for the training of people in DEI, which has been terminated and completely terminated. And we paused $1.7 billion in unauthorized payments to foreign organizations, including stopping more than $40 million that was on its way out the door to the very corrupt World Health Organization. which has not done its job and not done it properly.
Ouch.
We also
Get him out of here.
We also blocked $45 million for diversity scholarships in Burma. 45, that's a lot of money for diversity scholarships in Burma.
Gone.
You can imagine where that money went. These were the types of payments, and many others. I could stand here all day and tell you things that we found, and we have to find them quickly because we want the money to flow to proper places.
Yeah.
But these were the payments and types of payments affected by the temporary freeze, and the American people strongly support these efforts. I talked about it during the campaign, and they voted for us in record numbers. Every single day, we're now putting America first and fighting to get the most out of every single tax dollar for our great citizens. We've gathered this afternoon to take another historic action.
What is
However,
it? What is it?
in a few moments, the Laken-Riley Act will become the very first bill that I proudly sign into law as the 47th President of the United
Damn.
States.
He's really doing a lot. Yeah, he is.
Laken was a brilliant and beautiful 22-year-old nursing student from Georgia.
Yeah.
The best in her class. She was always the best. They would say, Laken, how do you do this? And what do you do? They were always asking her questions. She was respected by everybody, even her teachers. They respected her so much. From the time she was in first grade, Laken knew she wanted to spend her time caring for others. That's what she did. To her friends and classmates, she was a light of warmth and kindness in every single room. To her parents and family, she was everything in the world. They've had a miserable period of time. Just after 9 a.m. last February 22nd, Laken went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia, but she was just never returned. She never came back, did she, huh? Parents are here.
Nope.
Sister. All of her relatives. While on her run, Laken was attacked, viciously assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and murdered by an illegal alien gang member.
Hey, keep in
who
mind,
was set loose into our country
I'm the
by
bad
the
guy.
last administration.
Because I wanted to get rid of him.
We are deeply honored to be joined today by Laken's parents, Allison
Yeah.
and John, and her sister, Lauren. Thank you very much.
I'm the bad one.
Thank you.
Crazy, huh? Wow.
So sad.
Shut up, Adolf.
We were together right after that happened, and it's a tremendous tribute to your daughter, what's taking place today. That's all I can say. But it's so sad we have to be doing it at all. Thank you very much for being here. To Laken's family, we will keep Laken's memory alive in our hearts forever, everyone's hearts. With today's action, her name will also live forever in the laws of our country, and this is a very important law. This is something that has brought Democrats and Republicans together. That's not easy to do. Laken did it. Laken did it. America will never, ever forget Laken Hope Riley. The vicious criminal who murdered Precious Laken was an illegal alien member of the barbaric Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. He trespassed across our southern border in 2022 and was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the cruel policies of the last administration, instead of being deported, as he should have been, he was released into the United States, as were millions of other people, many of them very dangerous people.
Why would this happen?
And you see what we're doing? We're getting them the hell out
Catch
of
and
here.
release. Yeah, bro, that's for fish.
He was soon arrested again.
Man.
In New York City on
Why would
charges
you do that?
of endangering a child, but because of New York City's deadly sanctuary policies, as we have in California and many other places, which we're ending, we're going to end them. He was released again to reoffend. The Biden administration, the alien criminal with a free taxpayer-funded flight from New York to Georgia, where he was arrested yet again, constantly, this time for stealing from a Walmart along with his gang member brother who was
Guys, this
a
is
bad
insane.
one. only after being released a third time by the U.S. law enforcement did this cold-blooded criminal go out that fateful morning hunting
3
for
arrests.
women on whom to prey. That's what he did. He hunted. It was like a hunter. We're going to show him who the hunter is. This horrific atrocity should never have been allowed to happen. And as president, I'm fighting every single day to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. We don't want this to happen.
Jesus.
And under the law, thank you. Under the law I'm signing today, the Department of Homeland Security will be required to detain all illegal aliens who have been arrested for theft, burglary, larceny, shoplifting,
How is that not the
assaulting a
policy?
police officer, murder, or
This
any
is
crime that
crazy.
results in death or serious injury. In addition,
How are
for
people
the first
defending
time ever,
criminals?
this act
Because
gives
they're
state
retarded.
governments the ability to sue the federal government for
That's
immediate
why.
injunctive relief
They're
if
retarded.
any future administration ever again refuses to enforce the immigration laws of the United States, like happened for 4 long years.
How is catching any criminal based on a level not a thing? I don't
And
know.
that was happening for 4 long years, frightful years.
Jesus.
Amazing. You'd say, how can people do this? How can they allow this to happen? How can they allow criminals to pour into our country and then try and defend it? And they're still trying to defend it, but they can't. That's why I'm here instead of somebody else, actually. It's the biggest reason. I believe it's the single biggest reason. Inflation was horrible. Many things were horrible during that administration.
We call
When
this
you look at what
suicidal
took
empathy.
place in Afghanistan,
We gotta start
the way
calling
they
these
got
people
out.
out,
Not that
bro.
they got out, but the way
We
so
got to
many
be on
things
the
were
offensive
horrible.
because they're getting
But
people
to me,
killed
this was the
just so they can
worst of
feel
all.
good.
It's a landmark law.
They
that we're
killing
doing
people so they can
today.
feel good.
It's going to save countless innocent
We
American
got to start
lives.
shitting on them.
I want to thank every House Republican, every Senate Republican, as well as the 12 Senate
be aggressive.
Democrats and the 48 House Democrats who voted to pass this vitally important bill, and many of them are with us today, and I really do appreciate it. And I very much especially appreciate the bipartisan support. The Democrats, really a big percentage of them came through, and plenty of them wanted to. They probably felt they couldn't, but they really wanted to. That they don't understand that would have made them a lot more popular, would have made them a lot better with their people. The ones that didn't are going to be, they're going to be sorry because the people are not going to forget that they wouldn't sign. This is a perfect, incredible tribute to an unbelievable young lady.
Nope.
We're joined today by many great supporters of our new strong border policies, and they are indeed strong, including Vice President Vance, thank you, JD, the Secretary Scott Bessent, who just got approved, by the way. Where's Scott?
Show us the names
He
who
just got
opposed.
approved.
Yep.
Scott, I'm very impressed.
Well, they
Got a
gotta.
lot
The
of
thing is, with
Democrat
some of these
votes, too.
bills, they gotta work in the midterms to like get rid of the people that opposed
I don't know,
them.
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, bro. They
I'll
gotta
have
get
to
rid of
think
these
about
people.
that. Secretary of Homeland Security, who's going to be fantastic. I know her so well, and I know it's probably not complimentary because she is a woman, but she is tough. Where is she? Where is Christy? Christy.
Man.
Great. Stand up, please. You have such an important job to do.
Man.
Really
He's
great.
old
Thank you very
school.
much. And don't let
Open
that look fool
sexism?
you. That
Yeah.
look is.
Yep.
She's tough, and she
That's
cannot
right.
stand what she's having to sit
We're
here
back.
and even listen to this today. Another one who's done a job like nobody that I've seen in a long time. Tom Homan, he's my friend, but he
Oh.
is something special.
Oh,
He's something special.
the Orc Warlord.
And Tom and Christy, the numbers are unbelievable. What's happened? It's like just shut down. Nobody thought that was even possible. It's just shut down. They showed an area that a year ago had thousands and thousands of people rushing into our country. And today there was nobody there. It was like a beautiful sight.
I wonder why.
And also Senate Majority Whip John Barrasso. Great guy. Great guy. Thank you, John.
Thoughts on Bernie voting no on this bill?
And I
Stupid.
also want to thank the bill sponsors, Senator Katie Britt. Katie, thank you, Katie. And Congressman Mike Collins. And Mike, you
Yeah.
were fantastic from Georgia.
Yeah, disagree.
He took this
Simple.
He loves this state, and he took this very personally. So it's thank you very much, Mike. As well as Senate
You're gonna get a press
Judiciary
pass?
Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley. Chuck is here someplace. Chuck,
I might.
Thank you very much. You look great. And House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, who's a special guy, a special man.
It'll be really
And
cool
House
for me to go up
Homeland
there.
Security Committee Chairman Mark Green. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. And we
You have to
many
leave the
other
house, I know.
Congressmen and senators, but I'm not going to introduce because this is about your daughter. This is about something
Interesting
that's so
fascist
important, and
pipeline
we're
you'd go
gonna,
down?
Just go
Yeah.
along. Thank you also.
Fascism is
We have
having
to
borders.
Say Burt Jones is in the room, and Burt is
So true.
your lieutenant governor, and he was on this side.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe.
That's
Thank
right.
you very much. I see you sitting there. Thank you
It
very
doesn't
much.
work, bro.
So we have state, local
Doesn't work.
officials, we have law enforcement
No one cares.
organizations, we have everybody. Most of them are in the room or represented in the room, and they're incredible people, and I've never seen them come together like they have for this. I've done many of these, not of this kind, but different bills, different passages having to do with many different things, from homeland security to inner security to taxes to 50 different items. I've never seen such support as you have today, and as your great daughter has today. So I've never seen anything like it. And we have to thank your daughter for that, because she's going to save a lot of lives. She's going to be responsible for saving a lot of lives. So I'd like to just say to the Angel families, I've been with them and they've been with me from 2015 when I first got this crazy idea in my head to run for president because we could do better as a country. I want to thank so many of the people that are here that have been the Angel
only reason
moms,
these virtue
and we
signals
call them
oppose
Angel moms,
borders
but
is
they're Angel
because their
families,
side does.
fathers, and
If Trump was
sons
against
and
borders,
daughters,
they'd be all
but,
for them.
They've suffered tremendously.
It's
like you
reactionary.
have, for no reason whatsoever. I want to thank
You're right.
Alexis Nungari, the mother of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari, murdered last summer by 2 illegal alien gang members released
deep
into
secret
the
count?
United
How many
States
times you
by
asked her?
Joe Biden's open border, stupid policies. And thank you very much, Alexis. I want to thank you very much. We had an amazing trip.
Damn,
and
thanks for 100 subs, bro.
It was
Appreciate
really
it. Thanks.
special
Thanks a
to
lot.
meet you and your family. Appreciate it very much. So sad we have to be here, frankly. And Jocelyn, as you know,
Yeah,
is in
I
our
always
hearts,
appreciate
and
it.
she was
Thank you.
then. It was an amazing day we had, a great day. But it was a day of celebration of somebody that unfortunately won't be with us. But she is with us now, you know that. Here also is Patty Morin, the mother of Rachel Morin, killed 2 years ago by an illegal alien who was let into our country by the last administration's ridiculous, weak policies. Open border, can you imagine? When I heard open border, I said, oh, that's terrible. They're going to release their prisons all over the world. They're going to release their prisons into our country. That's exactly what happened. Patty is joined by Rachel's brother, Michael, Rachel's daughter, Clementine, and sister-in-law, Shannon. Thank you
It's
all
crazy
for
to see how
being
much he
here. We
talks
appreciate
compared to
it very
Biden.
much. Thank you very much.
It really
Thank you.
is.
With us as well is
Totally
the
different.
loving family of Kayla Hamilton, a 20-year-old girl murdered in July
Totally different
2022 by the MS-13 illegal alien gang member who is violent, vicious, and they knew it, and they didn't do anything about it. And I want to thank you to Kayla's mother, Tammy, and her grandmother, Kathy, and her stepfather, Jeremiah, very much. And finally, I want to thank others who have also suffered this horrible scourge that goes on with young people being killed, and other people too, but young people, largely young people being killed. Thank you to Scott Root, the father of Sarah Root, killed at 21 years of age. Think of that, 21, by an illegal alien. Shouldn't have been in our country, would have never been in our country if we were here. What a sad thing. To each of these angel families, we love you and we stand in awe of your courage and your strength. It's the toughest thing anybody has to go through. Many of the angel families here today were betrayed by the last administration, and with its heartless and foolish and really very, very arrogant and very, very dumb policies. Policies that aren't even believable when you talk about common sense. I say we're the party of common sense, but the Democrats also, they have plenty of common sense. And That's why so many are here today and so many supported what we're doing. The very government that was supposed to protect their daughters instead opened our borders and transported the world's most dangerous criminals straight into their communities. They came from prisons and jails and insane asylums and mental institutions from all over the world, not just South America. People think South America. They come from all over the world. They come from every continent. And they came here by plane, and they were loaded onto buses, and they were driven right up to our border, and they drove right through the border,
when he
and
talks
nobody
live.
even said a word to them. And in those buses and those cars and those trucks were some of the meanest criminals anywhere in the world.
So true.
As of last September, 425,000 illegal
Is he still
alien criminals
campaigning?
were roaming free, including 13,099 convicted illegal alien murderers, of which about almost 50% killed more than one person, and they were roaming all over the country in our farms, in our cities. Under the Trump administration, we're moving with urgency and speed to get these vicious and violent criminals the hell out of our country and to restore law and order to our suburbs, our cities, and our towns. And we're going to do it with Tom and with Christy and with all of the people that are working so hard on this. This week, compared to a comparable time a year ago, think of this. The number of illegal border crossers has already fallen by more than 100%. And because the election was coming, they started getting a little bit tougher on the border.
He's got to start finding the companies that hire the illegals.
And they did much better, but it still was horrible.
He's got to start finding them.
The numbers were still horrible, so that's 100% over those. They only did it because of the election, so they knew what they were doing was wrong. And those who do cross
big fines
the border, and you're seeing that every time. All you have to do is turn on your television set or pick up a newspaper.
Call me Mario.
Read any form of new media, because we have a lot of new media today, fortunately, that's letting the word get out. But they're watching these people be captured and removed from our country. ICE arrests have risen by 15 times, 15 times in just a short period. And over the past 8 days, the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol, we can never forget Border Patrol. Those people, I've gotten to know so many of them. Our border czar, as you remember, never went to the border and never made a phone call. She was the border czar. She never made one phone call.
He's not even going to name her?
They went to the heads of border.
Has he named Kamala Harris at all?
And she admitted she never made one call, but she was the border czar. And that's exactly what our border was all about. The heroes of ICE have arrested thousands and thousands of illegal alien criminals, including hundreds of gang members, traffickers, child predators, terrorists, and murderers. For the first time in history, we're loading dangerous and illegal aliens into military aircraft and flying them back to the places from which they came. You probably read about Colombia 2 days ago. They said, no, we're not taking them. I said, we're going to take them. You're going to take them. You're going to like it, too. You're going to take them. They talked about, we're not going to take people that are in shackles. I said, well, but the people that are in shackles are murderers. They're drug lords. They're rapists. They're very tough people. They make our criminals look like very nice people. That's about the only thing that comes out of this. And I say, could you imagine you're a pilot on the plane and you have your co-pilot and you're sitting there and you have 150 people, no shackles, and they like to murder people? This is not a good, this would not be a good flight.
It's not a good flight.
So actually, Colombia apologized to us profusely within an hour based on something I said.
What are you talking about?
You're going to pay tariffs like nobody's ever paid tariffs before, but they actually wanted to terminate his position. They're essentially Congress met and they were very angry with them. But they actually said they were going to send the presidential plane to pick up these criminals and to bring them because they didn't want to inconvenience us or have us do a second flight. And that's what they did. And I appreciate it. And I do appreciate the people of Colombia are wonderful people. And the representatives really acted well. And I appreciated they took back that tough talk. But, you know, we may have tough talk from others, but it's not going to mean anything. They're going to all take them back, and they're going to like it, too. They're going to like it. They're going to take it back, and they're going to like it. Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it.
We're bringing it back?
We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo
Oh,
to detain the
shit.
worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will double our capacity immediately.
Oh,
right?
my
And
God.
tough. That's a tough place to get out of.
Yeah.
Today's signings bring us one step
actually
closer
crazy,
to
yep.
eradicating the scourge of migrant crime in our communities once and for all. And it was just
This
a
is my
purely-
fault.
It's just an
Yeah.
unforced error that we even have to be doing this. Now we need Congress to provide full funding
Mm-hmm.
for the complete and total restoration of our sovereign borders, as well as financial support
Man.
to remove record numbers of illegal aliens. And these are illegal alien killers, criminals at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And you would have known that, and you were there when I
Yep.
said it. I said everybody that's bad is going to be thrown. If you look at Venezuela, Venezuela's crime is down 77% because they've taken their gang members, their prisoners, their drug
They're doing
dealers,
pretty
their
well.
drug lords. They've shipped them all into the United States. Many other countries, their crime is way down, and our crime is not doing well. But we're going to have it do really well very soon, and we're shipping all these people back where they came from. And now, before I sign the Laken Riley Act into law, I would like to ask Laken's really incredible mother, who I've gotten to know. A very sad day I got to know her. But this is an amazing
Watch
tribute to
Reddit
an
saying this is
amazing young
concentration
person.
camps?
And if you could come up, Allison, and say a few words, that would be great.
wait.
Thank you very much.
Wait, you're predicting that Reddit is going to emotionally elevate a conversation to have the moral upper hand? No way. No way. Nobody cares.
Thank you, President Trump. We would like to thank Senator Katie Britt for her diligent bipartisan work to get this bill through the Senate. We'd also like to thank Congressman Mike Collins for his unwavering passion and for leading on the Laken Riley Act from the start. Our family will forever be grateful for the prayers of the people across our nation and for helping to get this legislation into law. We also want to thank President Trump for the promises he made to us. He said he would secure our borders and that he would never forget about Laken. And he hasn't. He's a man of his word. We trust that he will fight for the American people. Most importantly, I want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without his sacrifices, Laken's story would have ended on that horrific day that she was taken from us. But because of him, we can continue living knowing that we will see Laken again. There's no amount of change that will ever bring back our precious Laken. Our hope moving forward is that her life saves lives. We're so thankful that her passion for helping others and her legacy for doing good in the name of Jesus Christ will carry on. Thank you.
Thank you.
There it is. What's he doing? Oh, he about to do it. Oh shit, he about to do it.
Sign this.
Oh, he's gonna have her
Riley.
give him, bro.
Come on up here, some of the people that we
Oh
love
man.
that have been so instrumental. Okay?
Democrats so upset that illegal criminals can't be released right away. I know. Yeah. This must be horrible for them. Wow.
Thank you.
Mr. President, government funding. Take a quick question on government funding. Pause.
I don't think this is appropriate time, really. I respect that, but
Pause. Mr. President, government funding. Take a quick question on government funding. Pause.
I don't think this is appropriate time, really. I respect that, but I don't think it's I can just tell you, government is doing very well, and we're cutting way back, but this is not the appropriate time. Thank you.
Man. Well, there it is. Holy shit. Man.
And there, President Trump
Holy
is surrounded by Laken
He
Riley's
just went and did it.
family.
Everybody, we are back. It's all good. My first guest is a hilarious comedian. Now you can see him in Chappelle's Show, which premieres tomorrow night on Comedy Central. Please welcome Dave Chappelle. Very nice to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Your yellow clashes with my salmon, I
Man,
believe.
check me out.
Yeah, check you out. How have you been? You good? Everything good?
Oh, I've been great, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited about this show coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's been weird. Like crazy people start coming up to me now.
Oh, really?
Not crazy, it's weird people. Like I was in the deli the other night, and this dude comes up to me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, Dave Chappelle." He's like, "Do you sign autographs?" So I'm like, "Sure." And he's like, "I don't want one." But I just want to know if you sign them.
What a bad guy.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
And you're like, please, please take it. Now, you've got this show, and I've seen ads for it everywhere, so they're really out promoting it. It looks like a funny show, but you're still going out on the road. This doesn't mean you get to just stay at home now, right? You're still out there.
Yeah.
You're still experiencing the road.
From time to time, I gotta, make the ends meet. But I tell you, man, I have fun out there. Like I was in the airplane the other day, and I brought a Hustler magazine with me. Just to spice it up, I was looking at it in the first class, and everyone was like all disgusted. And this lady finally came and she's like, "Sir, please, could you stop reading that?" And I had a blanket over my lap. I said, "Oh, I'm not reading."
What?
Blanket over my lap. I said, "Oh, I'm not reading." And everyone was like all disgusted. And this lady finally came and she's like, "Sir, please, could you stop reading that?" And I had a blanket over my lap. I said, "Oh, I'm not reading."
Uh-oh, they're turning on you.
And this lady finally came and she's like, "Sir, please, could you stop reading that?" And I had a blanket over my lap. I said, "Oh, I'm not reading."
Uh-oh, they're turning on you.
You guys gotta have fun.
These guys will turn on you, Dave. You gotta be careful. Now, I know you're a news junkie. Keeping up on the news, because that's fuel for you. Your observations, that's your life.
I've been trying not to watch it, man, because every time I look at the paper, it just seems like the end of the world. Mm-hmm. Doesn't it seem like it's a black sniper now?
Yeah.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a good thing they caught him, but,
Well, yeah, I'm glad they caught him. He fooled everybody. I thought he was white. It just doesn't seem like something a black dude would do. I didn't know they trained black people to do these kinds of things.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's a black sniper running around. And, I mean, they were finding tarot cards. What black person plays with tarot cards?
Right.
I was like, unless Miss Cleo did this, you can rule us out.
They went right to her, yeah.
Yeah. But then slowly you start seeing signs that maybe he is black. Like the first sign was when he started taking weekends off. I said, uh-oh. This might not be so good. And then it came on the news, what did they say? There's been a report that an olive-skinned man was seen leaving the scene. I said, I see what this is going. He's going to get progressively browner.
They start you with olive skin and then they move from there?
He's working on down.
Did you think Chief Moose did a good job?
Oh, that Chief Moose, he was great, man. It was like a movie, wasn't it? Because it was like the black detective taking the heat in case they don't find him. I felt bad for him because the sniper was making him say all these crazy things, and we didn't know that the sniper was doing it, so he just looked nuts. You have asked me to say that we have caught you like a duck in a noose. I was like, this brother needs some rest. But shizzle my nizzle used to dribble down the VA. My word is my bond.
Yeah.
Hello, Eskimo brothers got some dirty toes. I'm like, what is he talking about?
It was good fun, yeah. Now, this country, probably in the next couple of weeks, could be at war with Iraq. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's not definite.
Well, you're acting like an expert on a Sunday news show. We don't know yet, Conan.
We don't know. It has not been...
Dave Chappelle is still making up his mind.
We're sending 450,000 troops just in case there's a war.
Right.
But I don't understand. It's like you have weapons of mass destruction. They always talk about these chicken pox bombs. It's like, well, I already had that when I was little, man. What am I going to worry about this for?
Chicken pox.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Close enough, right?
Yeah, flu bombs and...
Yeah.
All we need is a sneeze guard over America, we'll be fine.
What about Osama, of course? They're still looking for Osama bin Laden. And
yeah, whatever happened to that? They don't mention that anymore, right?
No, it kind of went away.
He's putting out more tapes than Puffy, this guy, man. It's like, every time I see him, he got a new tape out. I'm in show business, I don't got this many tapes. It's like, was he on some kind of terrorist real world or something? They tape everything he does?
They just... Now, North Korea. Let's talk about North Korea for a second. That's a tense situation.
Well, see, now, they have weapons of mass destruction, but we're not going to disarm them. Because we don't want no part of that.
Why is that? Why are we so intimidated by them?
Have you ever tried to steal bubble gum from one of them stores, man? We make all our troops buy something.
We'll go in, we'll leave. Now, am I wrong? You travel more than I do. I'm chained to this desk. I can't go anywhere. But I get the sense that Europe, the European community, they're kind of down on the United States right now. Is that fair?
Yeah. I was actually in Paris a few weekends ago, and they would, how they are. Paris is very rude people. And I was like, man, y'all, I was like, you guys are racist. I was in the Louvre. I started screaming, this is racist. And then they said, stinking, unarmed stinking. She was like,
of course, not all Parisians are like that. That's where I'm planning to live when I get kicked off television.
Oh, my fault.
Anyway, so what happened? You said this is racism. You're in the Louvre.
She looks at me. She says, we are not racist. She says we do not like Americans. I'm like, oh, whew. Finally, somebody hates me for the right reasons,
I'm glad I got that straightened out.
Yeah.
You were on the Donahue show recently.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, he's a good man, Donahue. He's a good man, but I remember thinking, that's a new venue for you. That's a pretty serious...
Phil is great.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I love Donahue. But the show was about angry white men. This is not the venue I should be in.
Were there a lot of angry white men there?
It was all angry white men except for me and this other black dude. We were surrounded. And the conversation was like affirmative action. So, every time I say something, no claps. But whenever Pat Buchanan say something, hooray! So I'm like, I'm like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And it was bad. What I did learn, Donahue, is as angry as the white men were, at black people, they hate Mexicans more. Trust me. I had to see it. It was like, these Mexicans are taking our jobs. Like, word, you pick fruit for $4 a day?
So they were sort of the lightning rod that took attention away from you for a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little diversion.
Yeah. Now
Yeah. No, go ahead. Your show.
I was going to move on to more pleasant topics.
Yeah.
Chappelle's show.
Oh, hallelujah.
Now,
Man.
this is your own show. This is fantastic. You don't have to put up with some idiot like me. You got your own show now. This is a good thing.
Well, don't think I'm not going to come back now that I got a big show on Comedy Central.
Well, no, we will always want you here.
Conan, I don't forget the little people that I stepped on. I'm not...
Yeah. That's
I'm
good.
not that kind of person.
No, don't forget me,
No,
please.
of
I
course
need you.
not, man.
But this show, tell us about. I mean, I saw you're not just in the studio. You're doing a lot of remote pieces. It looks like.
Yeah, man. We did a lot of cool stuff. I actually have a clip.
You have a clip?
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever had a clip when you've come here.
No, this is my first clip.
You've had clips, but they were nothing that you were in or had any, relation to.
Exactly.
You show like a Dukes of Hazzard's clip.
Yeah, oh, you got to see this. They're going to make the jump and trick Boss Hog again.
Tell us about this clip. What do we need to know for this?
Well, this clip is actually a blooper from a sketch, which is a weird clip to bring, but it's a funny blooper. And in the sketch, this girl's in my car dancing.
It's like a parody of a car commercial?
Yeah, it's a parody of that Mitsubishi, I think, commercial
Right.
it is. Yeah, do you got it? It's pretty self-explanatory what goes wrong.
Let's take a look. Now that obviously, you couldn't use that on the show. That you had to stop taping there.
No, we use it on the show.
Oh, okay.
It's better, though. I mean, you got to see the clip in slow motion, because the funny part is if you look at my face when I notice what happened. Let's see it again.
Let's see that again.
I actually felt guilty when it happened.
Why is that?
Because it felt like I did it with my mind. Because the whole time she was dancing, I was like, come on, Teddy, come on! One of the
You
greatest
also,
working
somewhere,
days.
your driving teacher's having a heart attack. Because I don't think you're looking through the windshield for more than a second at a time.
I have a DC driver's license.
You can do whatever you want. You got your own show. Chappelle's show premieres tomorrow night at 10:30 on Comedy Central. And if it's your show, it's going to be really funny. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Dave Chappelle, everybody. Wilmer Valderrama from That 70s Show coming up. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. That's all. Yeah. Oh. Corrosive poison? Okay.
I recently made a tweet or a zeet or a skeet, whatever they're calling posts now on Elon's personal Circle Jerk site. I essentially said people who buy cards from trading card games they don't play should be jailed. Obviously a joke and over dramatization for comedic effect, but many people agreed. Why, you might ask? Because once again, investment bros can't contain their greed and are sucking all the joy and whimsy out of the world. Hi frogs, I'm Susu, and scalpers deserve a special place in hell for ruining our favorite children's card games.
Get the fuck off me, dog! That's why you make it too
The Pokemon 151 Blooming Waters box set just dropped, and if you're a TCG player, it should come as no surprise that soulless scalper scum have swarmed Costco's like flies to a rancid, bloating corpse. They infest our hobbies and infect it like a kind of disease only Kugoth the Plague Father could cook up. This takes me back to the days of yore when Black Friday deals were so good it was worth lining up outside a store and then trampling someone's grandma. Insane to once again see this kind of frenzy. It's like when Furbies just released and people were fighting to the death to get their hands on these cursed companions. Speaking of cursed companions, come join us at discord.gg/susujpeg to discuss the horrors of humanity, or get some cursed merch at susujpeg.com. I hate scalpers so much. I'll never forget how they ruined amiibos for everyone by making them like nigh impossible to get unless you wanted to shell out embarrassing amounts of cash. Or how they bought up the 2019 drop of the Magic the Gathering and My Little Ponies collab box set, inflating the prices when the original cost of the Ponies Galloping box retailed for just $50. I paid $150 for the box because I was stupid and I didn't do my research, so I didn't realize the price was hyperinflated. Fool me once. I learned fast and was never swindled again. And luckily, my bestie Tasha bought me the latest Secret Lair drop from straight from the source, so I have the complete set. Take that, scalpoids. Also, the worst part is 150 would sadly now be considered a deal, since online the box now goes up to like $300. Clearly, scalpers suck for everyone who is actually enjoying a hobby. They make the prices inaccessible to the average player, thus making it harder for people to simply have fun. And if that weren't sad enough, they make complete fools of themselves by stampeding through stores and duking it out over the right to resell cardboard. Let's all watch and laugh, but also cry for the poor employees that had to deal with this.
Jesus.
Animals. Fight breaks out at a Costco between Pokemon scalpers. Oh boy, I hope it's to the death. Why are you running? Is that meme still funny? Please laugh.
Oh my god.
Glad I'm not one of those guys. Ha! Doesn't this make you feel better about yourself?
And go! What's up? You guys are not. Oh, don't run. It says no running. Scan your memberships. Man,
No
they
running.
Opened it up to 2 lines. Oh, dang, don't run.
They got a light jog going though.
Look at
Loophole.
that. It's right here. It's right here in the front.
Oh, no.
Oh,
my God.
Hurry up. Get your 10.
Oh no.
Oh, five per customer? Oh, it's only 5 per customer.
I think they forgot how to count.
Dang, it's gone. That's it. That was it. It's over.
That was it?
Savages, all of ya. Dang.
Oh, that was really quick. I'm sure that makes some of you guys feel better about yourself because it takes you much longer, right? Scalpers may be the worst thing to happen to the TCG community, besides BO, but they could easily be swatted away if companies simply offered more reprints. The Prismatic Evolutions box set is a perfect example of this. Scalpers exhibited the kind of greed not even the Bible could have conceived to warn us about by literally buying rooms full of this box set. I'm not exaggerating. The prices skyrocketed like the cost of groceries in Alaska. It was so bad, stores even resorted to vandalizing the boxes themselves in order to deter scalpers from trying to buy them. On January 15th, the official Pokemon TCG Twitter account posted the following message saying they were essentially aware of the scalping issue and printing more of the boxes to help combat this problem. This announcement made reseller prices go from this on January 13th, as reported by Twitter user Quick Panic, to this on January 15th, as reported by Twitter user Team Pokecolors. Reprinting works! Scalpers are defeated. The players are once again able to get and enjoy the cards, right? Kind of, but scalpers seem to always find a way to grab up these boxes, sometimes before they even reach store shelves. There's definitely problems going on with distributors doing these backdoor deals with scalpers, and these people need to also be held accountable so we can stop seeing insanity like this. The amount of boxes some of these scalpers are able to get their hands on is insane. Reddit users calculated that this scalper hoarded at least 504 Prismatic Evolutions boxes. The scalper is selling them for around 160 USD a piece when the official retail cost is only around $50, meaning they could make upwards of 80 grand if people bought from them. Many users suggested simply ignoring the seller to force them to eat the cost of their greed. In the wake of the Blooming Waters box insanity, Costco's have started taking precautions such as preloading carts to try and stop some of the chaos, as well as more extreme measures like limiting boxes to just 2 per customer. One even had preloaded carts and a number system to hand them out in order to do things in a more organized manner. I wonder how this chaos is affecting the Costco guys' natural habitat. Hopefully AJ, Big Justice, and the Rizzlers stay safe. Also, the horrors of reselling don't just stop at shady deals between distributors and card scalpers. Businesses are getting robbed for trading cards. A community member in my Discord alerted me to this fact by telling me that one of his trucker friends carries a firearm with him when on these card deliveries. Because people are aware of how lucrative scalping can be, there's those who resort to extreme measures to get their hands on the cards. In March 26, 2023, some absolute psychopaths crashed a truck into Captain Fish Collectibles, a card shop in California, and racked up over $1 million in damages and stolen goods. All this to get their hands on Pokemon cards. Last year, a 25-year-old Tulsa man was sentenced June 24th to 2 years and 3 months in prison for second-degree burglary of $50,000 worth of Pokemon and Magic the Gathering cards. Security footage captured the man using a rock to break into Dragon Slayer games in Tulsa around 4 a.m. on February 26, 2021. And blood found at the scene on shards of glass was able to further connect him to the crime. So not only does he have 2 years jail time, but also 3 years of supervised release and $298,000 restitution payment. And just a few months ago, on December 8th, 2024, Old Town Hobbies and Games in Albuquerque was robbed for up to $20,000 worth of Pokemon cards and damage. The store is only about 4 years old, and on average, most small businesses are likely to fail in their first 5 years, so this is a huge blow for them. Luckily, the community got together to help find the thief, who was a regular at the store. This is really tragic because local game stores, often referred to as LGS, are so important for the TCG community. LCS are where players go to meet with each other, to socialize, and to play the game. This is often where tournaments and sealed draft events are held, and all manner of TCG activities that keeps the hobby alive. This just shows how little scalpers care, not just for the games, but for the entirety of the communities built around them. Hey kids, we know you love playing Pokemon at this store, but it's closed because someone drove a truck through the building and caused millions in damages, so now you all have nowhere to hang out. Go back to your iPods and screens. Good luck not getting brainwashed. Scalpers have always been a problem, but as you can see in recent years, we have Dark Souls boss tier resellers, thanks in part to the card pack opening craze that happened among streamers during COVID. Everyone was stuck at home, people were desperate for any form of entertainment they could get, and streamers were trying all kinds of different indoor activities to keep the masses hooked. One of the big trends during that period was Pokemon card pack opening. 2020 saw a big boom of streamers opening 90s card packs. Everyone loved the nostalgia factor of remembering when Pokemon cards hit millennial kids in the US like crack.
It's a good one, it's a good one.
There's also an element of gambling here because streamers are paying a lot for these old packs, hoping to get valuable cards to make the money they spent worthwhile. There's also the novelty of seeing someone drop insane amounts of money on cards, like the time XQC paid the equivalent of a teacher's salary on cards.
Not that crazy compared to 50K or it's like 250K.
Especially because if you want to get it graded, it'll take 8 months. And by the time it gets graded,
that's a teacher's salary!
The packs now
bitch!
will inflate the prices.
Teachers have summers off! Where the fuck am I at in the summer? Sitting in this crusty fucking chair trying to make you laugh!
With tons of popular content creators getting in on this, it wasn't long before card pack opening became a trend among creators big and small. The popularity of this type of content also increased the popularity of scalping. I'm not blaming the streamers for that, it's just that whenever something has a boost in popularity, demand for supply increases, and thus the resellers swarm. A while back, people were going crazy trying to find the One Ring card in the Lord of the Rings collaboration with Magic the Gathering, and due to booster pack opening being seen as trendy, many streamers didn't even do a little bit of research about this release, because if they did, they would have known you could only find the One Ring in the collector's boxes and not boosters, which many of them blew tons of money on. It's actually glorious that the One Ring card was found by a guy who has been a fan of the game since childhood, who then sold it to Post Malone for $2 million. He said this money was life-changing. That's what happens when you believe in the heart of the cards. So, on the one hand, it's great that people are becoming aware of and more interested in TCG, but when you get tons of people that just see it as a way to make a quick buck, it turns to shit. And you know what? I might sound like a petty asshole for this, but I've never been a fan of a lot of card opening content because a lot of the people doing this just send the cards off to be graded or sell them, or they just like collecting. All of these things are fine, you know, they're within their legal rights, but why should I care that they pulled a super cool card if they're never gonna put that card in a deck and play the game? The amount of card openers that will never play those ultra cool cards hurts my soul. Card games are for playing. I remember back in the day when we would play Pokemon TCG on the floor of a Toys R Us where they used to hold big Pokemon events for kids weekly. Any millennials remember that? Remember the little badge books they gave out? That was so fun. We were all playing with no mats, and no sleeves and a goddamn rubber band holding our decks together. It was all about the fun of playing. No one was buying up all the cards and selling them for hundreds or even thousands of dollars a piece. No elitism, just the love of the game. I genuinely miss that sometimes when I'm sitting there double sleeving my Magic decks I paid a bunch of money for. And then, sometimes someone will snidely comment, "Of course you won. You have like a $4,000 deck." Okay, how else do you expect a Kozilek Commander deck to be viable without pouring racks into my insane mana rocks to be able to swing a 10 mana commander with Annihilator 8 by turn 3 at the latest? There's very little protection or counter spells for colorless. So we just got shit like Scour from Existence or All is Dust and Not of This World, and those all cost 7 mana. What choice do I have but to base boost my mana pool with every rock in existence and pray? Yes, it's toxic, but I like to wing when I play CDH, so suck my balls and go play Pauper. Okay, I got a little heated there, but I'm passionate about my cardboard, okay? I want all these rich streamers to play more card games because they have all the best cards. Like, look at this.
Look up. I got more. Here we go. Next one.
Yes, dude! Fuck yes, dude! Oh, you were right! Fuck yes!
I've never pulled one. Oh my god! Gotta sleeve it, gotta sleeve it, gotta sleeve it. Gotta sleeve it! Gotta sleeve it!
That is minty, baby. Still packed fresh. She's still fresh. I'm shaking.
Pay Money Wubby pulls one of my favorite cards, the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, out of a $35,000 box. And you know what? Okay, good for him, because he does actually play the game and is a great asset to the MTG community. But if he doesn't make an obscenely toxic deck with this card and play it on stream, I will self-immolate. I don't care that the card is banned in basically all formats. Make it work, Wubby.
The fuck is this guy doing?
Video's over, fuck off.
I'm just being fucking nice over here.
Thank you.
Say that the FBI headquarters should be shut down and reopened as a museum of the deep state?
Mr. Chairman, are we allowed to go an extra time?
Let's see, you get a second round. Before I call on Senator Lee.
Could he just answer the question if he said that the FBI headquarters, where they investigate cybercrime and terrorism, should be shut down and opened as a deep state?
Hey, Mr. Chair.
As a museum. Did he say that the headquarters should be shut down?
I think he did say that.
I deserve an answer to that question. He is asking to be head of the FBI, and he said that their headquarters should be shut down.
Mr. Chair, parliamentary inquiry. You got anything you want to say, Mr. Patel, before I go on to Senator Lee?
Simply this. If the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI. I stood with them here in this country. In every theater of war we have, I was on the ground in service of this nation. And any accusations leveled against me that I would somehow put political bias before the Constitution are grotesquely unfair. And I will have you reminded that I have been endorsed by over 300,000 law enforcement officers to become the next director of the FBI. Let's ask them.
Mr. Chairman, I am quoting his own words from September of 2024. It is his own words. It is not some conspiracy. It is what Mr. Patel actually said himself. Facts matter.
You forget that
She's
you
getting
had
mad.
3 minutes in the next round to say what you just said.
Okay, I'll say them again.
Okay. Before I call Lee.
She's big mad.
Just parliamentary inquiry, and it was on time. It wasn't disputing any of the debate, but I intend to keep to my 7 minutes, and I appreciate you keeping everyone to it. If we go over, can we have that decrement against the time in the second round?
Oh.
If a member goes over, that was actually 10 minutes, Mr. Chair.
I'm not sure that I want to. Sometimes it's faster to get things done here, just letting people shout and than it does to shut them up.
Mr. Chairman, you're a wise man, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
It's so stupid.
Chairman,
Mr. Chairman.
Before we go to Lee.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, what do you want?
What do you want?
I love this guy.
The hell you want?
Oh
my God.
Mr. Chairman, I'm like Senator Tillis. I mean, if we're going to
Jesus.
start this,
The hell you want
I
from
don't-
me?
I want an extra 3 minutes.
Well,
Now, my friend Senator Klobuchar.
Oh, my
3
God.
minutes over.
So, here what you're saying is the chairman
Oh,
wasn't
my
very
God.
good chairman by not shutting her up. But I've gone through this before.
See, this is, you know what? This is, I think, what they were talking about like the federal government wastes a lot of time and money. I feel like this happens like, you know, this is like this sets the tone for the whole thing.
And I think I know how to handle it.
Well, I think you're a star-spangled awesome chairman. I just want to say that for the record. But if you're going to let somebody over there go 3 minutes over, I want my extra 3 minutes.
Well, let's see if it's abused by anybody else before we make that decision.
I'm just telling you, I'm going to abuse it.
It's so good, man. Oh my fucking God, this is so good. Yeah, anyway, what is the rest of these? I'll get to the rest of them. Oh, wow. They look old. Yeah, they look old because they are old. Oh, here we go.
Okay, let's go.
What is this?
Fortunately, Senator, yes. I don't want to get into those details with my family here.
Let's get into a few of them. Tell me about it.
Well, if you look at the record
Come
from January
here.
6th, where I testified before
damn
that
it.
committee, because of my personal information being released by Congress, I was subjected to a direct and significant threat on my life. And I put that information in the record. I had to move. In that threat, I was called a detestable and
I know what he's gonna say.
go back to where you came from. You belong with your terrorist home.
He was called a sand N-word. What? Yeah, that's what it was.
Friends.
With the hard R. And he dropped it right there in front of everybody.
That's what was sent to me. That's just a piece of it.
Yeah.
But that's nothing compared to what the men and women in law enforcement face every day. And that's why they have
Got the
my
pass?
support.
I mean, I guess so, right?
In the collective, all of those statements are taken out of grotesque context. And anyone that thinks my 16 years of service isn't exemplary on how I would proceed if confirmed as FBI.
If you
is
get called it, you get a
intentionally putting
pass?
false
That's not
information
true.
into the public ether and creating more public discourse. The only thing that will matter if I'm confirmed as a director of the FBI is a de-weaponized, depoliticized system of law enforcement completely devoted to rigorous obedience of the Constitution and a singular standard of justice.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good idea. That would be great. Imagine that. And this guy, he did talk about the Jeffrey Epstein Black Book. And this is what I think a lot of people want. They want to have this shit get exposed.
So for instance, who is currently holding, this is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean,
Oh,
there's.
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI, just like the manifesto from the Nashville.
So if we get this guy in charge, he puts it out there, right?
School shooting at the Catholic school.
Let's
We saw
go.
that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out.
So there's a good chance. Well, Trump would be on. Well, they just won't release that page. That page would be like page, like 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 74. Wait, what? Don't worry about it. 75, 76. Like that's it, right? And it's on page 69. Yeah, sure. And anyway, yes, that's. I'll be very, very curious. Like I would want to see that happen just by itself. Yeah, just by itself, I would love to see that.
The rest of the interview. This is why snippets of information are often misleading and detrimental to this committee's advice and consent
Well,
process.
if you consent, I would love to have 5 hours of questions, and then I could read the whole transcript.
You've got 2 minutes.
Ooh.
The rest of the interview.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay. Wow.
Did you say that the FBI...
This is the same one. Let me see if I can find the other one.
Mr. Patel, I think you know that I have great respect for the men and women of the FBI.
Yeah. Hi, dear. Can you open...
Jesus, what the fuck is this? Anyway, your Twitter algorithm is so biased. Well, I'm just looking up Kash Patel, right? I mean, like, I don't think there's really a bias there. You just look it up, and that's what's going to come in. Yeah, I don't know if that's a bias or not. I'll go back and make sure I get through the rest of these, but I feel like that's the majority of them right there. And,
What were you doing on that day?
On that day specifically,
January 6th.
responding to preparing to mobilize and deploy the National Guard once we got the lawful request from the local governing authority, which was the mayor of D.C. and the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
Now, how many days in advance were you working to prepare the Department of Defense to help secure the Capitol on January 6th?
Days in advance, Senator, we were in the Oval Office on an unrelated national security matter with the President of the United States,
January
the Secretary of
6th.
Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and myself. And the President authorized up to 20,000 plus National Guardsmen and women to secure any security measures necessary related to the Capitol. So we were moving to the fullest extent of the law before the requisite request came from the local governing authority days ahead of time.
And while you were Chief of Staff at DOD, how many times did DOD approach Capitol Police and ask if they needed National Guard assistance?
I believe those letters are well documented, numerous instances, and numerous of those instances, those requests were shut down.
So they didn't take in the National Guard for January 6th? I wonder why. Yeah, I mean, they should have known it would have been a shit show. Why would they not do that?
Now, am I correct that the Capitol Sergeant at Arms said assistance was unnecessary?
That's correct, Senator.
Who did the Sergeant at Arms report to?
The Speaker of the House.
That would have been Nancy Pelosi at the time, is that correct?
Yes, Senator.
And would that also
They
be
shit on our
Chuck
guts.
Schumer, then the Senate Majority Leader?
The Sergeant at Arms, yes, Senator, reports up there.
Did Mayor Bowser, the Democrat-elected mayor in D.C., either request or allow National Guard assistance?
She put in writing on the days leading up to January 6th a declination for National Guard additional support.
So she said, why? Why would she do that? Because they had FBI in the
dumbass.
crowd whose job it was to rile people up enough to get a riot going and then use it to blame the right and gain power? Yep. That must be it.
And that letter is available publicly to the world.
For sure.
And just to speak English for folks at home, a declination meant she said no, don't send National Guard. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Let me ask you a simple question, because from the questioning from my Democrat colleagues, they might think otherwise. Do you condemn violence against law enforcement?
All of it.
Wow, okay, that's crazy. This guy's radical. Oh, man. It's almost like they want it to get out of hand. I mean, they mismanaged it. The thing is that here's my opinion on it. it seems obvious that they should have had the National Guard there, and there could have been a degree of malicious non-compliance, or like basically like we're going to allow this to happen, or at least increase the probability of this happening because it could be advantageous for us politically in the long run. That's possible, but it's also possible that they just didn't think it was going to happen. And also, it's not the government's fault when like the people that were walking into the Capitol building, breaking into the Capitol building, you know whose fault it is? Their fault. They're the ones doing it. It's not like, you know, the FBI is holding their arms and legs by strings and making them walk in. They were let in. Oh, hey, I have no problem with people that walked into the Capitol building and they didn't do anything and then they just left, right? I don't care. I don't think, and really most people care about that. People don't really give a shit about that. But like, you can look at the videos of people that are smashing the windows and stealing things, and I don't think that that's the FBI's fucking fault. I don't. I think that's their fault. If an FBI agent says, hey, why don't you just go, you know, go rob a 7-Eleven? Are you gonna go do it? Well, if you do, you're gonna have a bad fucking time. So no, I think it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that you're blaming grown adults. You're blaming the actions of grown adults on other people. These are adults. These are people. They let it happen. They let it happen implies that the people were doing it. You see what my point is? They were doing it. They did it. They're wrong. They should not have done it. It's not a question. Both can be correct. Yes, both can be correct. It was mismanaged, but also I'm not going to go and say like, oh, well, they caused this to happen. The people that did it caused it to happen. Both things are true. I think so. Yes, both things are true. Accurate and true. Do you think there were instigators in January 6th? I would assume so. Maybe not even just from the government. Maybe anarchists. Maybe people that just wanted to fuck shit up. Sure. I bet that's the case with the BLM riots. Like, I remember when the BLM riots were happening, and my mom was like, I'm so glad you're not, you know, this wasn't 10 years ago. And I'm like, why? And she goes, because you and Cody and Jeff would be down there looting.
And she'd be right.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, stop police brutality. Yeah, definitely, guys. All right, so, oh, wow, look at that. You know, like, yeah, of course, right? And so, I think that for sure there were agitators. Absolutely. But there's agitators and everything like that. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. That's my viewpoint. I think it's pretty fair.
Colleagues, I created a cash bingo card that I have available to any of my colleagues.
Man.
Colleagues who would like it on the other side of the aisle.
I love how the blank spot in the middle is just an American flag.
I view this as an unserious caricature and not appropriate for this committee. Sadly, I consider it a serious caricature of what I expect to be witnessed today.
Oh.
I think we'll have words like enemies list and deep state. I've already X'd out 4 boxes in the opening statements alone. The fact of the matter is, some people will be here to simply substantiate a false narrative. Colleagues.
That's probably true to an extent. Yeah, people trying to talk a bunch of bullshit. Is this the same one?
At the FBI headquarters.
Man, people don't like her. You know why? It's because the haircut. She got to get a new haircut. She looks like a Karen.
Yep.
She looks like she'd get mad at you for writing her name wrong on a Starbucks cup and want a free one next time. I'm just saying it. Everybody's thinking it, but I'm just saying it.
Before I go on to Senator Lee.
Simply this. If the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI. I stood with them here in this country. In every theater of war we have, I was on the ground in service of this nation. And any accusations leveled against me that I would somehow put political bias before the Constitution are grotesquely unfair. And I will have you reminded that I have been endorsed by over 300,000 law enforcement officers to become the next director of the FBI.
Is it? I didn't know if it was or not. Let's see here if I can figure out the rest of it. And
Sounds to me like we need to get some new conspiracy theories. Sounds to me like we need to get some new conspiracy theories because all the old ones turned out to be true.
I love this guy. I do. I think he's so funny. Just like the way he says shit and everything is so good. Oh my God. Yeah, I'll leave the other one.
Conspiracy theories because all the old ones turned out to be true.
Yeah.
Facts matter, Senator.
Yeah. I mean, conspiracy
That's
theories
somebody
are
else.
up something like 37 to nothing.
Okay, well, wow, okay. Let's see if I find the rest of these. Cloud Democrat, what's this here? Oh, the Epstein list. Here we go. All right, they finally got to talk about it.
Their questions, and it has led me to wonder, why are the Democrats so afraid of you?
I don't know, Senator. You'd have to ask them.
Well, I tell you what I think, and listening to their questions and your responses, which we appreciate, they know that you're going to go in and you're going to clean up that political cabal that has been over there for years. You are going to reposition the FBI to its core mission. You stated that earlier in this hearing, and there will be no more political persecutions and no more 2 tiers of justice, and they have liked having 2 tiers of justice. They have enjoyed it, and it has helped them. They think in their political mission, they've enjoyed targeting Catholics. They've enjoyed targeting parents, but the American people have said they want no more of that.
Okay.
And our colleagues know you're going to clean it up. I want to talk to you about the Epstein case.
Here we go. Because, like, in my opinion, I feel like, in terms of, like, importance, the Epstein list is, like, 100 times bigger than the Diddy list. Because the Diddy list is just a bunch of weird celebrities and maybe like random local, you know, like people, right? Or whatever. The Epstein list, that's the big one. Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah, in our prediction, exactly, right? That's, yeah, that was, yeah, we're talking like presidents, royals, heads of state. Like, oh man, multi-billionaires, crazy shit.
I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Now, earlier...
It's crazy how everybody is in agreement that he was doing sex trafficking, but nobody knows who was who was it being trafficked to? How is it that we don't know all the names? That's crazy.
I urged then Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records.
Yeah.
And I ended up being blocked by Senator Durbin and Christopher Wray. They stonewalled on this. And I know that
Trump on the list. So a lot of people bring up Trump being on the list. Trump was on the list of flights. There is no evidence that he was at Epstein's island. But there is evidence that he was on Epstein's plane and he was friends with Epstein. So, like, you can take with that what you will. Is that the correct? Is that the correct evaluation? Yes, it is. Okay, all right. And so and again, I'm not like, my perspective is if you did weird stuff, with trafficked kids, you should go to jail, right? I mean, so like if Trump did that, you should go to jail. Like, I mean, it's not even like, what are we talking about? So yeah, I mean, of course I would want everybody to know. Yeah, death, not jail. I mean, like.
Breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me on this issue so we know you worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going to...
Thank you. That's the thing. This is the reason. I think that one of the problems is that a lot of the distrust from the government comes from the government being opaque about where the distrust came from. And I think that that's why I thought it was a good thing that they released the JFK and the MLK files, is because, especially with Martin Luther King, there is so much, I feel like it was, pretty much common knowledge that the FBI was fucking with Martin Luther King, right? Like, how many of you guys knew that this was happening before any of this stuff went public? Right? We all knew this was happening. And so, the way that you solve that and the way that you get beyond that, because, that's a racial barrier, because Martin Luther King is, probably one of the most influential people in civil rights. Fucking absolutely, right? So, this is a huge racial barrier, and it's a scar that has existed for 60 years, right? And it's not about making the scar go away, but it's about healing it. And the way that you do that is you show people the transparency. This is what happened. This is 100% it. And if the government did something bad, you take accountability. You say, we fucked up. That's our bad. But that's how you move forward, because you can't move forward if you can't even acknowledge the past. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I was such a big advocate for this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's the only way. Exactly. And so I want to see all this stuff happen. Absolutely. Transparency is vital. It is. It's 100% vital.
Here, your answer, yes or no. Did you make money?
I don't have
This
those
is my third
financial
and last time I'm going to
disclosures
ask you
in front
that
of me.
question.
You have that information.
So you refuse to answer the question.
I answered 1,300
Here
pages.
you no answer, and yet you spread dangerous misinformation. Here, your answer.
What the fuck?
You don't answer my question.
You're being considered for director of the FBI. And here you did no diligence to find out whether people you were associating with now the President of the United States in song were convicted of attacking police officers. Is that who we want running the FBI? I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them, that beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement. I've worked with these men and women, as you know, my entire life, and I did not make a single dime out of it.
Well, let me.
How about you ask them if I have their backs, and let's see about that
answer. Let me
answer.
ask you this, Mr. Patel. Let me ask you this. If an FBI director promoted a song of people who sprayed pepper spray in the face of an FBI agent, would you say they were fit to be director?
Mr. Schiff?
Yes or no? Would they be fit to be director?
I am fit to be the director of the FBI.
If you were the FBI director and you promoted a song with someone who beat an FBI agent with a pole, would you say you were fit to be FBI director?
Mr. Schiff, I am fit to be FBI director based on my 16
and
years
yet
of government
you did all
service.
these things, Mr. Patel. You can say, oh, I support law enforcement, I decry violence against law enforcement. You could say all that. It's what you did, Mr. Patel, that matters. It's what you did that matters. Well, let me ask you about something else that you did, Mr. Patel. Did you claim that Donald Trump declassified all the documents at Mar-a-Lago. Did you claim that?
In what proceeding?
To the public, ever, did you tell anyone that Donald Trump declassified all the documents at Mar-a-Lago?
From publicly available information, President Trump issued a declassification order on a variety of materials.
No, I'm just asking you, did you tell the public, did you tell anyone, did you make the claim that Donald Trump had declassified those hundreds of classified documents that were at Mar-a-Lago? Did you make that claim
From
publicly?
my best of my recollection, I said President Trump issued a declassification order to a large number of documents.
Yeah, and were you present when he declassified all the Mar-a-Lago documents?
Senator, I'm not saying he declassified all the Mar-a-Lago documents. I said President Trump declassified a large number of documents, and I would hope this committee and the rest of Congress would want to get those documents to the American people.
Mr. Patel, before a president or anyone declassified documents, wouldn't...
I think it's pretty easy to say, by the way, that like talking about a rap song where you're pepper spraying police is like bad. Like if you're like going to apply for a law enforcement role, it's pretty easy to say that. Yeah, I think that this is it's not good. It's bad optics, right? You shouldn't do that. But who cares? I'm not saying it's a big deal. I'm not saying it's a big deal. I'm just saying it's bad. You ask my opinion, is it good or bad? I think it's bad. Is that fair? I'm not saying, oh wow, you shouldn't be the director because of this one thing. But yeah, I think it's bad.
You want to know whether making the public would cause sources to be killed? Wouldn't you want to know that before you just declare they're all declassified?
Fence? No, I'm not on the fence. I want this guy to be the director. I think he's great. I completely support him. I'm not a fence sitter on this at all. I like him. Yeah, no, I do.
Wouldn't that be the responsible thing for a president to do?
It was the responsible thing for us to do. That's why we declassified the Nunes memo.
And did Donald Trump declassify?
And no one died.
And did Donald Trump ever ask any of the agencies who produced those documents whether declassifying them would put people's lives at risk? Did he ever do that to your knowledge, Kash Patel?
I don't know that he didn't. Do you?
No, that's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem, isn't it? So let me just ask, Mr. Chairman,
yeah, this guy's acting a little bit. He acted a bit crazy.
You would support the release of his grand jury testimony in that case. I would ask you, Mr. Chairman, ranking member, to join me in requesting
a little bit,
with Mr. Patel's approval, the release of those grand jury
Bro's
transcripts.
on the list.
And I would also ask Mr. Patel, would
You
you
think he
support
is?
the
I don't
release
know.
of Volume 2 as it pertains to you of the Special Counsel's report? Any reference to you
That's
in the
a lot.
report, to your truthfulness, will you support?
I can see the way that he acts, though. I can see why they call him Shifty Shift, though. Like, I could easily see that. Like, that was a good one. Yeah, like, you can immediately tell exactly the reason why they say that.
Support the release to this committee of those sections of Volume 2 of Special Counsel's report.
I support following the law and providing whatever information the law requires.
Well, you said to the Wall Street Journal that you support transparency. Here's your chance, Mr. Patel. You support release of that to this committee, yes or no?
Your time's up. Before
Oh, there it is. Let me see. There's another one. I'll see if there's any more of these that are interesting.
You know, some people, you're not doing your job right.
My colleague and friend Senator Durbin called you a conspiracy theorist. You remember that?
I do, Senator.
Is this how it...
You were instrumental in revealing that the Trump-Russia election collusion hoax was a hoax, weren't you?
Yes, sir. I was a lead investigator.
People are still going on about that even now. They're still going on about it being a hoax from Russia. Yep.
Sounds to me like we need to get some new conspiracy theories, because all the old ones turned out to be true.
Facts matter, Senator.
I mean, conspiracy theorists are up to something like 37 and up.
So stupid. Okay. Where's the rest of it?
I'm going to let good cops be cops and put handcuffs on the bad guys and put child molesters in prisons of America. And I'm going to let good cops be cops and put handcuffs on the bad guys and put child molesters in prison and put murderers in prison and make sure CCP fentanyl doesn't kill another one of your constituents. That's track one. Track two, to restore the trust in the FBI.
Did he point at the Democrats and then say your constituents? Because I'm pretty sure that, like, if...
That has degraded, not by my opinion, by the Gallup poll, that only 40% of Americans have trust and faith in the FBI. It is a cataclysmic failure in leadership to get to that point that did not happen over time. And so what the FBI must do while tackling violent crime and protecting...
That's what I was saying before about that MLK stuff. That's why people don't trust them. It's because they're opaque about it. They don't explain it. And, like, if you don't explain things to people, you're not going to have them believe you. They're going to think that you're a fucking liar.
Americans' national security and our sovereignty is work
they
with
hide shit.
Congress,
Yeah, exactly.
Republicans and Democrats, to expose any government corruption, provide government accountability through transparency, and get you all the documents that you are the custodians of. The FBI reports to Congress. If I am confirmed as FBI director, I will report to Congress. And I will just save you with this one caveat here about my personal experiences with the FBI. The men and women of the FBI do the most courageous work on God's green earth. I was fortunate enough to utilize FISA 702 national security measures to prevent a shopping mall from blowing up in Houston,
Holy
and the
fuck.
state capitol from being attacked in
Jesus.
California. Courageous men and women do that work every day, and these are cases you never hear about. Instead, the only things you hear about are the baseless conspiracy theories and attacks levied at me. Well, here's something for America. You can say whatever you want about me. If I'm confirmed, bring it on. But you will not denigrate the men and women of the FBI that saved this country.
Hey, there it is. I mean, like, I've had, for interesting reasons, they've all been extremely professional and really good. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've had to interact with a lot of law enforcement and interesting people over the years. And yeah, they're very, very competent. I'll say that. Let's see if there's any more of these real quick. Make sure I go through all the rest of them. Uh-oh. The glowy? No, not necessarily. Sorry. Not the haters going wild, people getting mad. Yeah, I'll find. Because you work for Disney? Do I work for Disney? Is that it? Yeah, who would want an intelligence agency to be fully transparent publicly? I think with controversies and issues that happen that are extremely public, it's in the best interest of the public, especially long after the fact. Like, for example, with Martin Luther King, that bad blood like that is put down. And the way that you do that is by basically explaining what happened. Because you're never going to trust somebody again who lied to you, who still won't tell you what they lied about. You see what I'm saying? Like, the first step to being able to trust somebody who was previously untrustworthy is for that person to tell you what they lied to you about, right? Of course.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Patel, do you believe that background checks for firearm purchases are constitutional?
I don't know the in-depths of it, but I think...
Do you believe that background checks for firearm purchases are constitutional?
I don't know the in-depths of it, but I think that's what the Supreme Court has said, Senator.
So the word would be YES, yes. Can you say yes? Are background checks constitutional?
I can say whatever the Constitution and the Supreme Court ruled is the rule of the land.
Fucking obviously. He's the director of the FBI. Yeah, this is already settled. He doesn't make that decision. Yeah, what kind of an asshole? Yeah, why not? Well, of course he doesn't know. Yeah, it's a gotcha question. He's not a lawmaker. Yeah, what is this? So, the condescending?
Yes. Can you say yes? Are background checks constitutional? So the word would be YES, yes. Can you say yes? Are background checks constitutional?
What a nasty little bitch. Ooh. Oh, what a... Oh, jeez. Watch cups or get grilled? No, if people have other ones, I'd look at those too.
Senator, as you can see, I took a photograph with an individual who showed up at a book event I don't believe I'm guilty by association.
Oh, so the Senate, they said he's a racist. This guy's a racist. Did you know Kash Patel is a racist?
Showed up at a book event. I don't believe I'm guilty by association, and I certainly don't believe that an individual who was the first minority to serve as the Deputy Director of National Intelligence for this country is a racist in any way, and I detest any conjecture to the contrary.
What a ridiculous thing to say. So he takes a picture with somebody and he somehow endorses everything that the guy says? How the fuck does that make any sense? How is this guy so good at defending himself? Because he probably has been told this 50 times. I bet there's nothing new that they're coming up and saying. Yeah, he's a white supremacist? Oh, of course. Well, what people mean by white supremacist is that that's a person that you disagree with.
You brought up public trust at 41%. So in a general way, without going for an hour, tell me what you're going to do to increase the public trust of the FBI.
Simple. Make sure we don't have 100,000 rapes in this country next year. Make sure we don't have 100,000 drug overdoses from Chinese fentanyl and Mexican heroin. And make sure we don't have 17,000 homicides. Those numbers need to be cut in half immediately. And the public will regain trust in the FBI and law enforcement once we achieve that mission.
Yeah. Yeah, put the people that do crime in jail. Yep, that's right. And stop that from happening. Yeah, I feel like that's a really good one. And being ahead of time and, you know, being ahead of the ball and just making it happen before it does. Like that bomb thing that they were talking about. This guy ain't stopping shit. Well, it sure seems like they're not stopping shit anyway, so why not at least try it? That's what I think.
Hear your answer, yes or no. Did you make money?
I don't have
This
those
is my third
financial
and last time I'm going to
disclosures
ask you
in front
that
of me.
question.
You have that information.
So you refuse to answer the question.
I answered 1,300 pages.
You no answer, and yet you spread dangerous misinformation. Here.
She doesn't want to read.
Oh, bro, why is she so pressed? I don't know. Why? I don't know why she crashed out like that either. It's nuts. Talking to herself, yes. Like, Jesus, man, what is that? What a clown, no answer. Yeah, I guess so.
You've committed that the FBI will not be politicized. So here's your first test. Will you commit that you will not tolerate the firing of the FBI agents who worked with the special counsel's office on these investigations?
Senator, I appreciate the time to visit with you.
It is a yes or no answer, and it is your first test.
Senator, every FBI employee will be held to the absolute same standard, and no one will be terminated for case assignments.
And I'm not going to accept that answer because if you can't commit that those FBI agents will be protected from political retribution, we can't accept you as FBI director.
All FBI employees will be protected against political retribution.
Those individuals deserve to be protected from Trump retribution. That was your first test. You failed it.
By saying all FBI employees should be protected?
What a stupid... Well, bro, who is this guy? Yes, who is this guy? He just said it. Yeah, he literally just said it. Fucking class, people are so stupid. Yes, I know. Well, what you have to understand is that when this kind of stuff happens, the reason why it pops off like this is because what they do is that they're trying to convince people that they're making the right decisions and like this person is bad. So they try to turn something that's like maybe complex or whatever into a yes or no question, change the question to be slanted in a way that is disingenuous. So then the person has to clarify themselves. And then in the context of clarifying yourself, there is the implication that because you can't say yes or no, then you are a liar. That's the logic, right? And that's the manipulation in play here. Everybody does this. This isn't a Democrat trick or a Republican trick. It's just this is what people do. They're farming clips. Yes.
That's new.
No, he's right. I looked, I said, oh, look at this beautiful sunny day. We blew it, and then I went outside and we were freezing. You would have been very unhappy. The sun was very deceptive, I will tell you. It is cold out. And I'm sort of saying, that was so beautiful today. Maybe they should do it there every 4 years. Does that make sense? I don't know. Because, the
he doesn't, by the way, this speech isn't prepared, so this is going to be a 1 hour speech. Yep, I can already tell.
They suffer through it. There was no suffering in that room. It was 72 degrees.
Yeah, he's not reading anything.
The best acoustics I think I've ever heard.
Walk in, boys.
Not so bad either. But I just want to say, you're a younger, far more beautiful audience that I just spoke to. And I want to keep it off the record. I want to keep that off the record. Because I don't want to have all those big shots up there. I don't want to think you're more powerful than them, you look better than them, and I love you.
Man.
Now, we just had a great time. We just had a great day. This was amazing. When you think we took a journey. I mentioned in the speech, a lot of people said that was not a journey that was possible, and it was indeed possible. I didn't really know too much about what they were saying when they said that, but a lot of people felt it, and we hooked up with J.D. very early. I watched J.D. over a period of time. I endorsed him in Ohio. He was a great senator, and very, very smart. The only one smarter than him was his wife. That was, I would have chosen her, but somehow the line of succession didn't work that way, right? But now she's great, and he's great. This is a great, beautiful couple, and unbelievable career. I just said to him, you are very upwardly mobile, because he hasn't been doing it that long.
Yeah, he's 40.
He picked it up so quickly. Remember, the first week was a little bit like the fake news was hitting him really hard.
They were.
And I said,
yeah.
This may be tough.
Remember that sofa
After
thing?
That, it was smooth sailing for him. He took on everybody. He took on the meanest.
That sofa was not so good for
I don't want to use the
him.
word corrupt because we're into a new system, so let's wait till the corruption begins, because it will.
He turned it around with the debate.
That's
what it was.
Mean people,
in my
and
opinion.
He handled it well. I want to also congratulate Mike Johnson for the job that he's doing.
Yeah, well, he totally turned it around on that.
Steve, we gave him a majority of almost nothing, and then I said to make it tougher on him, let me take 2 or 3 of the people, right? I said he'll only have to suffer with that for about 3 months. How are they doing, by the way? Are they? Is that moving along? Totally. He said, do you mind if I take this one, that one, and a couple of others? He didn't mind. He can handle it.
Yeah.
No, he's a man that's liked by everybody. I've never met a man like this. You've got how many is it, 219 or 220 or something? 220. And of the 220, 219 really like him. I noticed he got 1 negative vote once about 2 weeks ago. But I think even 220 like him, if you want to know the truth. And that's very unusual. I know a lot of nice guys in Congress, and they have 35 people that hate them. So you have 35 people that hate you, and you only have 1 or 2 or 3 votes. You'll have 5, I think. But that's going to be like, the good news is when we get to that 5 number, it's going to feel like a massive majority. You can be really nasty to a couple of them, at least.
Yeah.
So it's going to feel like hitting your head on the wall and stopping. It feels so good to stop, but he's done a fantastic job. And Steve Scalise is, he's our hero, because, I was with him.
Bro.
You talk about being shot. I was with him. He got some bad ones, and his incredible wife, and she really loves him.
There he is.
You never know about that. I've been with other people. They were doing poorly, and the wife is like looking at a watch. She can't get out of the hospital fast
Based, yeah. Give
How's
a
he
fuck.
doing? I don't know. He's all right.
With shorts?
That woman was a mess. She was crying and crying. No, they're going to take him. They're going to take him.
Formal wear?
When
Yeah.
he finally woke up, it was a while, too. The doctor told me it was the most blood they've ever transfused in any patient. They've never done anything like it. And here he is, the picture of strength, right? And he's been a great friend of mine. With a family, because of a family. And what a job you did. It worked out pretty much better than we even thought, right? And I did have a couple of things, to say that were extremely controversial. And between J.D. and Melania, and anybody else that heard, please, sir, It's such a beautiful, unifying speech. Please, sir, don't say these things. I said, I'm telling you, it's going to play great. They say, you're right. For this group of people, it's going to play great. You're the only ones I hurt by not, oh, but we had some beauties, didn't we, Melania? She said, sir, calls me sir when she's angry. No, I'm only kidding. I better say I'm only kidding, or the press is going to pick that one up loud.
Man, just walking over there.
No, I think it would be terrible. It's such a nice speech. I think it's, you know, it all depends on your delivery. How was the delivery?
It's freezing there
good?
too? Yeah.
But she said it's such a beautiful speech. You can't put things in there that you were going to put in. And I was going to talk about the J6 hostages.
Okay.
But you'll be happy because, you know, it's action, not words that count. And you're going to see a lot of action on the J6 hostages.
Yeah. Well, this isn't the inauguration speech. You got to keep in mind.
To talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that
were
very, very guilty of very bad crimes. Like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs.
The January 6th committee.
They literally, I mean, what they did is they destroyed and deleted all of the information, all of the hearings, practically not a thing left. They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers. You wouldn't have needed 10,000. You could have had 500, and it would have stopped.
Yeah.
Because we may have a million people that day, the people that were there. You don't see any photographs, but we have a lot of great photos. But you don't see those photographs. They don't put them in. They show the people at the Capitol. But I was talking about that. I was going to talk about that. They said, please don't bring that up right now. You can bring it up tomorrow. I said, how about now in front of the I'll bring it up right now. You know, this little time delay is good because we're getting great reviews on the speech. Now watch. They'll take the speech and say, I didn't like it because he left there and he's talked to people. But we're giving you a little more information than we gave upstairs. But no, they pardoned a lot of people. They pardoned, before we even get to today, they pardoned, 33 murderers, absolute murderers, the worst murderers. You know, when you get the death sentence in the United States, you have to be bad because they don't give it much. And he pardoned almost everybody having a death sentence. And if you went through the crimes that were committed, you wouldn't even believe them, the level of violence, the people that were killed.
There he is.
Innocence of people that were killed and children killed by these people. And he pardoned them for whatever reason. He spared them, but they didn't spare the people that they killed. And, you know, who knows what happens in the future. It's one of the worst because a lot of times they let them out early after that. You know, they say you're going to be in for life, but then all of a sudden they get let out for good behavior, and then they go on a rampage. You know, it's one of those little things, right? But I was going to talk about that. But I was really going to talk about the level of, you know, what's going on. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to help a guy like Milley? Why are we doing Milley?
That general?
What he said.
Yeah.
Terrible what he said. Why are we helping some of the people?
You guys.
Why are we helping Liz Cheney? I mean, Liz Cheney is a disaster. She's a crying lunatic and crying Adam Kinzinger. He's a super crying. I never saw the guy not crying. He's always crying. I looked at him. I remember years ago he was actually on my side. And then one day, you know, when you don't want to kill people in wars, they turn against you. Liz Cheney hated the concept of not going to war with everybody. Let's kill everybody.
Runs in a family.
Spend a lot of money on military equipment, you know, where her father works, right? And but what she did was incredible.
How convenient.
They destroyed and deleted all of that information that went on for almost 2 years.
You weren't kidding about this hour?
And the reason
no, there's no teleprompters.
False, like the person that said
I don't think so.
Tried to strangle a Secret Service agent. That's one of the toughest human beings I think I've ever seen. I actually had a friend saying, "Please don't change that, sir. You are the coolest sucker in history." Remember, she said, "I put my hands around his neck." Because he wouldn't go to the Capitol. Made up fiction. And I was rebuffed. And the guy on the right is a massive weightlifter. probably stronger than me. Do you think he's stronger than me, honey? You know who I'm talking about. Possibly stronger than me. Slightly younger than me, like, I won't say how many years because I don't want to talk about that, but a lot of years.
Yeah, this
But
is,
I had a
guys.
friend that said, why are you disputing that story? That's the coolest story I've ever heard. That I would attack a karate champion, get slightly rebuffed, and then throw my arms around a guy with a neck about this big. Even though there are bars, you know, there are bars, you can't really do that anyway. So,
You can't do that.
So I wanted to talk about that, but all of that stuff got deleted. And the reason it got deleted is they were all caught in lies. You know, Secret Service testified and they said it didn't happen. Actually, the two guys were very embarrassed. They're suffering because their friends are saying, did Trump really do that to you? But he gained a whole new respect for me. But it was just make-believe stuff. And there were a lot of make-believe stories made up.
By the time he's
So
president
rather
the
than
third
suffer
time,
the
these speeches are going to be
like
2
the story
hours.
With Nancy Pelosi, I offered her 10,000 soldiers. She knows it. She admitted it on tape.
He's talking about this 10
And her
minutes ago.
daughter made- She's a videographer or whatever you call her. Which I'm glad she is. Oh, she can't be in good stead with Nancy.
This is a
But Nancy
podcast
said
president.
It was my responsibility as she's leaving the Capitol. She said it was, and it was. She's in charge of security at the Capitol. But I offered them up to 10,000 soldiers, even more.
Yeah.
One time I said more, as many as you need. But you needed 400 or 500. If 4 or 5, you 10,000, that would be more than the number of people there by lot. But we offered her 10,000. Think of it, 10,000 soldiers. In
The
other
patch is
words,
live? Did they?
J6 wouldn't be J6.
Did he
It
already
would've
start
been
doing it?
J6. But she rebuffed them. She didn't like it. No, she didn't like it. Maybe she wanted that to happen. But she's guilty as hell.
Oh, yeah, he did make a
And
video.
now we would have to go through the process because they destroyed all evidence. They deleted everything. There's virtually nothing left. The other fake story and so many other fake stories.
Shit.
And many people came out on our side. And those people now, we've got to find them. There's nothing left. So that's a criminal offense. If that were a civil case, it would be a criminal offense. If that happened civilly where you did that, it would be a criminal offense. So
Yeah.
I decided I'm not going to make this speech complicated. I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it a unifying speech. And then when they said we have a group of people that are serious Trump fans, I said, this is the time to tell those stories.
Great. All right. Man has level 100 in yapping. Yeah.
So anyway, but seriously, I'd like to, I think it was a tremendous success. I think we're very lucky we put it inside.
It's a
because
speech
it
about
is
his
really
speech?
cold. We just
Yeah.
went to
Like
the
actually.
helicopter out of respect. It's something that's taken place for a long time. I guess it's as old as helicopters. You used to get into a stagecoach, now you get into a helicopter. Times change. But it's pretty old custom. And it's a beautiful custom, actually. It's a beautiful custom. I wish we could have had a better relationship. I wish we could have had a better relationship between Republicans and Democrats. I was with Senator Schumer. I said, Chuck, I think it's time we all start getting along a little bit because it doesn't make sense. I mean, we literally never get a Democrat vote. They never get a Republican vote, almost. And although there is a bill coming up very shortly that we have a lot of Democrat votes, right? It's going to be a very beautiful bill. We're going to have a deciding, I would say, within a week or so, I think. And it's going to be a very good bill.
They
You all
have
know
to
what I'm
stand for
talking
this
about.
whole
So,
time?
I
Oh,
just want to
shit.
thank you all for being here. You have been our fans from day one. All these
Never
all
get
these
into the
people all
food
over.
industry.
You've been our fans. This has been there's never been anything like it. There's never been anything like it. This has been a movement like no movement ever in history.
It's the best bill. There's never been a better bill.
You know, if somebody's running for
A lot of people
president,
say this is the greatest
and if
bill
they
they've
go
ever
out
read.
and they announce they're going to
No one
Arizona,
writes
they're going
bills
to
like I do.
Nevada, They're going to someplace. If you have 200 or 300
You're gonna love
people,
it.
That would be standard. Ronald Reagan would go out. I mean, outside of the last couple of days where people get a little excited, but even then you have a couple of thousand people. But if you're going to go someplace, any place, any one of the swing states, any one of the other states. I mean, how about the non-swing states? We won Alabama by 58 points. We won Tennessee by massive numbers. Wyoming, we won by numbers that are nobody's ever seen numbers like that. And, you know, places like California, we did great, but when they send out like 38 million ballots, and nobody knows where the hell they're sending them, and then they come pouring back, the whole thing. You know, they passed a law in California that if you work in an election bureau, and if you so much as ask for a voter ID, if you say, sir, ma'am, could I please look at your voter ID? They have the right to put you in jail. You're a criminal. Can you believe that? There's only one reason it happens. They want to cheat. So they had it where voter ID wasn't accepted. But now if you even ask for, this is seriously a bill that was just signed, passed in their legislature.
He's still campaigning?
It was signed.
Well, you've got to get ready for the third term.
When we get things cleaned up and we get back to a little bit of normalcy, I'm going to ask the speaker to really get involved, because I think we would have won the state of California, because, you know.
Wait, he thinks he's going to win California?
Hispanic, we're at 56%. And we were winning. We won the Texas border that had never been won. As the governor said, he's doing a good job, the governor, by the way, of Texas. But as the governor said, it has.
He did win it? Well, it's his.
Oh, did I get lucky? Did I get lucky? Supposing I said, you know, he's not here, but the governor of Texas has done a terrible job. Wow.
Drops on? Yeah. If you watch for 3 hours, you might get citizenship.
You up in the front row, I'll tell you.
That's my governor.
Supposing I said, JD, the governor of Texas, is not doing his job. You heard what I said. See, I didn't know you were there. I said he's doing a great job. He's doing a phenomenal job. But now you're going to have a partner that's going to work with you, because you didn't have. Not only didn't he have a partner, he had people selling the wall.
Ted Cruz is not your governor.
We have a
that's not Ted Cruz.
The governor worked on with me. And I didn't love it, to be honest with you. I wanted a nice precast.
It's a different guy.
You know, 40, 50 feet high, like a beautiful. Could have been a T-shape, Y-shape. I love construction. I wanted that sucker to go up maybe 50, 60 feet. It would have looked beautiful. A nice Y shape. And he said, the problem is, sir, they climbed that like a rabbit. I said, what do you mean? No way. And they brought some of these guys out. They climbed it like. And the other thing is you hit it with acid and the thing will disintegrate. You know, they have things for concrete. So they needed very hardened steel, very special steel. And then they needed 7,000-pound concrete inside that steel, unit inside that steel. And then they have a rebar that's the toughest steel made. Very hard to cut. So this is why very little is cut. I mean, it's right. And then they put a anti-climb panel on top. I hated it. I said, it's so unattractive. And I said, why would that work? I don't believe it works. And I went to watch. The Border Patrol gave a display. We had actually 2 sets of climbers. The guys that climb up walls with drugs on their back, I mean, they got like 60, 70 pounds of drug, and they go as fast as you can walk. They go bip, bip, bip. Or we have Mount Everest type climbers. And honestly, the drug guys were much better. I couldn't believe it. The drug guys blew them away, right? But it's true, the anti-climb panel, they couldn't get around it. They just couldn't. When you didn't have it. So sometimes you sacrifice beauty for efficiency. And we did. So we built this wall, and we built over 500 miles.
Should he use vibranium?
That's why we had such good numbers. The famous chart that came down, very thankfully, the chart that came down on my right, Governor. Had I not looked over there, I'm not speaking right now. You might be speaking here. You want to know the truth? You, JD, have got a lot of great people in this party, but I got very lucky. But
what's he talking about?
But I brought, you know what happens is when you fill it up, it's like water. You fill it up. Now we have 571 miles of wall. And they would always say, you know, when we renovated a wall, so there'd be like a piece of plywood sitting there for 60 years, or a 2x4 sitting for 60 years on the ground and rotting. Because, you know, and they'll say, you didn't build a new wall. Here we're building 50 feet up in the air, 30 feet sections, 50-foot sections, all steel, all concrete, all everything. And all, by the way,
Trump didn't touch the Bible.
But what the hell, doesn't take that long time. They're all wires for all of the equipment. We put wires in everything so they can easily wire for all the different types of equipment. And if there's a doubt, we have a wire. whenever we just look, you just find the wires all over the place up top, so we could just hook it up.
So what are we talking
don't have
about?
to have wires on the outside, which wouldn't do too well, right?
What?
So anyway, so we built an extra 200 miles of wall, and the governor wanted to buy it. He tried to buy it, and they wouldn't sell it to him. He wanted to put it up himself. Could have been done in 3 to 4 weeks, 200 more miles, because when you do it now, they just keep going further out, further out, further out, getting around. So we did an extra 200 miles, and it was all bought. And they announced that they're not going to put it up. And that's when I realized they wanted open borders, and that's when I realized that people are going to come pouring through the wall like nobody's ever seen before, but you've seen it. A lot of you are here because of that. I made it my #1 issue. They all said inflation was the #1 issue. I said I disagree. I think people coming into our country from prisons and from mental institutions is a bigger issue for the people that I know. And I made it my #1. I talked about inflation too, but you know, how many times can you say that an apple has doubled in cost? I'd say it, and I'd hit it hard, but then I go back to the fact that we don't want criminals coming into our country. We don't want the jails of every country in the world virtually being deposited into the United States. And that man had to suffer with it. And he did an unbelievable job. I'll tell you, he was a very popular governor, but now he's like an unbeatable governor because of your border policies. He was fantastic.
This guy tried to run against Abbott, but he looked like a
Governor
bitch,
Abbott.
and so he lost. And he had a stupid name.
Great man, great leader, and but it did make him very more. Did you do it? You didn't do that.
It's like Beto, yeah, Beto.
You did the right thing, but I tell you, sure as hell worked for
Stupid ass.
politics.
That's the name. You name a dog that.
Self-preservation.
Oh, Beto.
But yeah, because the people are demanding it. The people of Texas are demanding it. The people are
You
demanding
name
it. So anyway,
like a Dalmatian
so
Beto.
We built it, and they wouldn't let us use it. They wouldn't let the governor use it, and other governors, they wouldn't let him use it. But he was the leader of the pack and did a great job. And then we heard about a month ago that not only wouldn't they let it use it, they were selling it. They were going to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar. Now,
what?
5 cents on the dollar then, but today it would cost more than twice as much to build because we bought it like 6 years ago.
That's crazy. Wow.
It was just sitting on the ground, and that
Is that
does not
right?
do well for the whole thing. But it was just sitting on the ground, and I heard about it, and I called the governor, and I called a lot of people, your attorney general, and here's the story. They were going to buy it, and these are great business people. They were going to buy it for 5 cents on the dollar or less, and they were calling us up, we'll sell it to you for 200 cents on the dollar. In other words, we'll sell it to you dollar or less, people. And here's the story. They were going to buy it, and these are great business people. They were going to buy it for 5 cents on the dollar or less, and they were calling us up, we'll sell it to you for 200 cents on the dollar. In other words, it will cost you twice as much, so it's 200
So like,
cents
there's
on
this
the
phone
dollar.
call.
I said, can somebody explain that to a judge?
Yeah.
I mean, how corrupt is that? You'd think they'd say, maybe we'll sell it to you for 20 cents, 30 cents.
So true.
But not 200 cents.
Yeah.
So they were going to buy something for 5 cents, and they were going to sell it to us for a fortune. They were going to make it would be, they'd have it down in Fortune magazine, they'd put it of the deal of the year, okay? You buy something like that. But it was so corrupt and so horrible. And when we told that to the administration, they didn't care. They just kept going forward. They couldn't care less.
Yeah.
And they kept going forward. They knew that they were trying to sell it back to us. They would have sold it back to us. You would have ended up buying it. You would have paid probably 50, 60 cents. Who knows? But they were going to use it for scrap metal, but then they made a much better deal. They could just buy it and sell it to us for 15, 20 times what they paid. 20 times, think of it, like 20 times what they paid. And we wouldn't let it happen.
You know who's really smart
the
here?
governor with his attorney general
Is
Ken
Melania.
Paxson. They made a fantastic.
Everybody
good
else is
lawyer.
standing. She
He's
knew what
pushing
was
it
going to
by
happen.
people, right?
She
They
just
said,
sat down.
You got a great attorney general. They should leave him alone. He was with me. But Ken and the governor went to court, and a judge actually
she
became
knew.
incensed and actually called for an investigation.
Nah, this
after
guy's
a thing
sitting
like
down
this
too.
happened. So he stopped it. So we're waiting to put that wall up. And now that you have a new president, that wall will go up so fast.
Okay. All right.
Sir.
So about the wall. Here we go.
This is Greg Abbott, sir. Please, the wall is going up too fast. Please don't do that. You know the story about winning. No, we're going to win too much. We're winning
The wall
too much.
is going up too
People
fast.
always love that one. We'll do this with the wall. Governor Abbott goes, sir,
Man.
the wall is going up too fast. We can't take it. We just can't take it. No.
Maybe
I
we
think
should
you'll
build
be
two
very happy
walls.
if the wall goes up too fast, right? But we'll get that dude, and we'll work with you on that. But it was a great decision by a great Texas judge, right? And it was beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful to watch.
How about 3 walls?
Right in their track. I mean, they were literally loading this stuff onto trucks. It was terrible. Honestly, it was terrible. And he wouldn't take it. So I'm so glad I mentioned that they have a really good governor in Texas. And I swear, I didn't know he was here. I swear to you, it sounds like a setup. I didn't know you would end.
Why does he sound like an old man?
I said the right thing. Because there have been moments when I wasn't so happy with him, you know? But not too many, I can tell you that. So anyway, it's good to see you too, Governor. Great. But I just want to thank everybody. You've been incredible.
Yeah.
I recognize so many of you. It's so crazy. But this has been a long journey. This was a journey that started in 2015, probably started 20 years before that. People used to say, you're going to run for president? You're going to run? And I always said, no, I don't want. And then one day I said, let's give it a shot. And what I talked about then was the border too. I think it probably was the number one issue for
Obama
me.
being from Kenya.
Back in
Don't forget about that.
2016, I talked about the border. And now I talked about the border, but this border is much worse. We fixed the border. It was totally fixed. There was nothing to talk about. 2020.
Remember that?
By the way, that election
Obama
was totally
born in
rigged.
Kenya.
That's okay. It was a rigged election. You know the
Wait.
only thing good about it? It showed how bad they are, showed how incompetent, and
Oh.
frankly, historically, this is a much bigger event. If that would have gone like it should have, the bad thing about it is some bad things happened, like a lot of people in our country that wouldn't be in our country right now. So you know that's the
Rigged
that's the bad
election.
part.
Yep.
But I will say that it started in 2015, and right from the beginning, we went to the top. Day one, they announced Trump, and Trump went to number one and stayed there for the whole primary. And then we took on Hillary. She didn't look too happy today. We took on Hillary, a very nice person, but we took on Hillary and we defeated Hillary.
A very nice person.
And we did much better the second time in 2020. You know, we got millions more votes. We got millions, like 10, 12 million more votes than we did the first time. No president has ever gotten that many more votes. I got like 9 million more than anybody else had ever gotten. And they said we lost. And because of that, I said to Melania, what do you think? And she said, you want to do this again? And had we lost, and had I thought we lost, I wouldn't do it again, because that's like the ultimate poll, right? But I knew how well we did, and this time we made it too big to rig. It was so big. They tried. They tried like hell in the butt. They tried to do it, and around 9:02 they gave up. Last time they did bad things. At this time they just said, yes. You know, I don't know if you saw Mr. Speaker in Washington.
Yeah.
They had placards. They were all set to march. They thought it'd be closer. A gentleman asked me, a very respected gentleman asked me yesterday, how come the polls were so wrong? They showed you winning, but not in a landslide.
Because it was a rig.
I said,
It was
because
rigged.
people that are true Trumpers are so angry at the whole polling system and at the writers, the fake news, that they don't want to talk to anybody. So when you call somebody from Trump, who are you voting for? They say, it's none of your business. I'm not telling you. And that was probably 40% of the people they called. So they would discard that one, and they didn't show that. And then when the election happened,
I think they misrepresented the
it was
polls.
much different,
I
much
think they
higher
did.
than we're going to win, but they really thought, they couldn't believe, the one man said, I mean, it was so much higher. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions of votes, which is hard for a Republican. I'll tell you who came through. The unions came through. The auto workers were great. The Teamsters were great. The firemen were great. I think almost every union was great. The only one that weren't great, although Sean was great, and the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters, was fantastic. But generally speaking, the head of the union was against Trump, but the union would
Man.
be with us for like 80, 85%. Look what we did with the auto workers in Michigan. Look what we did with the Teamsters. The
So
Teamsters
true.
were unbelievable. They were a solid Democrat vote, and they voted for Trump.
So true.
So we had a great experience. This has been, now we have to go to work and get it done because we have to do something that's going to be great. We're going to turn our country around.
All right. That's
And we're
good.
going to turn it around fast. And I think this was a better speech than the one I made upstairs, okay? I think this was better, JD. I think this was much better, and I got to see my friend. So, Governor, take care of yourself. You call me, we'll start working. You know what that means with him? He's going to be calling me tomorrow morning at about 6. And I said, how about next week? You call me, and we're going to get it started real fast. We'll really help you a lot. You've
All
done
right.
a fantastic job protecting something which is it's not supposed to be for the states.
See, you
And,
thought it was over.
Amazing job you've
You
done.
thought-
Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody. And I have a first lady who's been incredible. She's been incredible.
Uh-huh.
I shouldn't say this. I'm going to get hell when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. You know, those heels. And we thought we were leaving. We were going home. Sir, would you be able to go down and say hello to some of your other fans that are here? I said, oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Did you get to see pretty
Wow.
clearly the picture, I hope? Good. That's good. But because you wouldn't want to make the same speech again, right? But she said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me. I said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have to go. Right? Right?
She says no.
And then we went out to the helicopter just prior to this and said goodbye. And it's a costume and
She's
the wind was
mad,
blowing like
yeah.
crazy. And with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost off her. She was being elevated off the ground.
God.
She almost blew away. No. So we all appreciate it because you.
Oh,
you've
man.
been a great first lady. A beautiful and a great first lady. And they love our first lady.
8 more years of this?
You know, JD, whenever I make a speech, I see hundreds of times, we love our first lady. We love, and they do, and they should. She's great. So I just want to thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to thank
20 more
everybody.
years, 12 more years of this?
And I felt that.
Yeah?
I said to JD, should we give him the A treatment, the B treatment, the C, the D, or the F? You know what the F is? Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. I gave you the A+ treatment. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Governor. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
The Gulf of America.
And that was President Trump speaking to the overflow crowd in Emancipation Hall, saying that he felt like the speech that he just delivered was better than his inauguration address. And so we see him shaking hands with a number of lawmakers right there. What is up next is that he will be heading to the signing room, and that is where we are expecting another ceremony to get underway.
Another
we are continuing
podcast?
our live coverage here on Live Now from
Oh,
Fox of Inauguration Day.
This is the video where he talks about all this shit. So we're going to get into it. Damn.
A very busy weekend. We got the 6 hostages out of Venezuela, as you probably know. and they're very safe right now. They're home with their families.
We got water, but we got no
Well, that's
And
good.
we appreciate the hard work of a lot of people.
I didn't even know that
including
was
Rick
happening.
Grinnell. We appreciate the cooperation from Venezuela, and we have some very happy people right now. Nobody thought that was going to happen. So they are home, they're safe, and they're with their families. That was a big one. Secretary of State Rubio is in Panama, Panama right now, and
Little Marco.
we're talking about the Panama
Damn
Canal.
it.
What they've done is terrible. They violated the agreement. They're not allowed to violate the agreement. China-
Apparently, they came back to the table too. By the way, huge win with the Panama Canal. Officials announced that it will not be renewing its memorandum of understanding with China. There it is.
Right.
Is running the Panama Canal.
Out by
Yeah.
one.
It was not given
It's
to
$3
China,
million
that
per
was
ship.
given to Panama
I
foolishly.
could see that adding up.
But they violated the agreement, and
Yeah, I could
gonna
definitely
take
see
it
that
back
adding
where
up.
something very powerful is going to happen. And as far as other things are concerned, as you know, we had a very busy weekend. We're dealing with Israel. We're dealing with Ukraine and Russia. We have meetings and talks scheduled with various parties, including Ukraine and Russia. And I think those discussions are actually going pretty well. The discussions on the Middle East with Israel and various and sundry other countries are progressing. Bibi Netanyahu's coming on Tuesday. And I think we have some very big meetings scheduled.
You feel that Elon Musk is delivering on his promises to you? You feel he's doing a good job right now with
I
those?
do. I think Elon's doing a good job. He's a big cost cutter. Sometimes we won't agree with it and will not go where he wants to go. But
So there was a guy, let me see if I can find it real quick. And apparently somebody was on the government payroll. Let me see if I can show you guys this. So let me see, it might take me a minute to find this, but I'll see if I can get it. And where the fuck is it? Where the fuck did it go? Oh my god, where is it? He's making so many posts, it's hard to keep up with it. Well, anyway, there was some guy causing trouble that was getting money from the government, and then Elon found out about it, and he said not anymore. So basically, they're just cutting off funding for a lot of these random fucking clowns, which is like, in my opinion, thank God. You know, wasting this fucking money, giving people that are morons money. Thank God. Yeah, just like Argentina. Yeah, I have no idea about that. I don't know. Let me see. I wish I could find this. Yeah, Legacy Media panicking because they underestimated Doge. Yeah, like he's getting a lot of this money out. And in my opinion, I think thank fucking God. I bet there's been so much. Oh, here we go. Let's see if I can find it. Yep, so apparently, let's see if I can find, where is it? It's this guy right here. So basically, this guy says the deep state is far more preferable to the Trump state. And then apparently this guy got exposed for getting money from the government. And then Elon Musk said that, you know, this is probably not going to happen for very long. And that's it. That's it. Yeah, it's kind of AI already. Bill's part of the deep state. Yeah, get rid of him. Get him the fuck out.
I think he's doing a great job. He's a smart guy, very smart, and he's very much into cutting
Thank God.
the budget of our federal government.
We fixed the glitch? Yeah.
Retaliatory tariffs from Canada.
Say it?
You saw some retaliatory tariffs from Canada. There was a rider in the order. Are you planning to increase the tariffs against Canada?
Well, it could happen. If they do anything, we will. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in.
Damn.
Canada's been
The
very
fuck?
tough on oil, on energy. They
The
don't
fuck?
allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way street. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year. And for what? What do we get out of it? We don't get anything out of it. I love the people of Canada. I disagree with the leadership of Canada. And something's going to happen there. But if they
Something's gonna happen. I wonder. There's no way we're gonna try to make them a state, right? Like, there's no
want
like.
to play the game, I don't mind. We can play the game all they want. Mexico, we've had very good talks with them, and this is retaliatory. This is retaliatory to a certain extent.
So he's just saying
Millions of
it.
people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada, and we're not going to allow that. And by the way, we have among the lowest numbers we've ever had of people crossing our border, the lowest numbers since my administration.
Mr. President, you said, so on Truth Social, you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations, and why South
No,
Africa?
it's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa.
Yeah.
The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination.
Well, fuck 'em.
And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
And on the Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he held race.
That's enough for today. Good night, y'all.